Hope it's working. I hope it's working. Oh yeah, it looks like there's one there. It's 5:00, so we just gotta wait for people to roll in.
Oh yeah,
but it's okay. So
cool deal.
Welcome to Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics on this special
Thursday.
Yes, Thursday. Well, we were talking about so much stuff. Muppets special Thursday live stream here, and our special guest is Papa Shrimp, and
hey everybody.
He is our second guest on the channel. So we've had other people on here, but we have not had so-called guests that were shrimpers. So we wanted to bring Papa Shrimp on because he is so well known within the community, and he knows so much about the hobby that we wanted to pick his brain and see if there's anything in there that we could find that's interesting.
Nope.
I saw it.
Over.
Yep, that's it. Okay, we got it. 29 in. So how are you doing, Mr. Papa Shrimp?
Man, I'm doing great.
That is good. That is good.
Considering everything, man, it's all good, man. Living the dream.
Excellent. What's the weather there? How's your temperature there?
Right now it's probably low to mid 80s, but this morning it was kind of chilly.
Oh wow, yeah, we're 51 in rain here, so it's pretty bad. I went out to the garage today and decided I was wondering if I should bring in plecos because they're in the grow out tank out there, but the rest of the week it's going to be in the low 70s. So I thought, well, I could probably leave them out there for a few more days, and
I'm not even running my AC today. Haven't run it all day.
Oh, nice. Well, it saves on that bill. I'm running mine right now. It's just because it's 98% humidity at 51 degrees.
Wow.
I mean, it's horrible. The how we went from 90 just a few days ago on my birthday to freezing cold and rain, so that humidity hasn't had a chance to go anywhere. So
yeah, temperature swings are crazy.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. We wanted to we thought it was pretty important to everyone in the family thought it was pretty important to bring you on here and steal you from Jason for a minute. Well, the thing is I respect everyone that does, all parts of the hobby, whether it's fish, even snakes to, anything. But, sometimes, with this being a shrimp channel, I kind of want to bring shrimpy people in first, because there's a lot of people out there that don't know, there's things that they look for, and there's things that I look for too. And it's like, maybe there's answers that I have, questions that I have that could be answered, or, something like that. Cause there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. The only thing I'm good at is taking care of them and then breeding. So there's a larger window that, the bigger you open it, the more air comes in. So I'm just cracked right now.
I believe I'm still in that area of I still do not know what I do not know. And I'm okay with it because that means I'm open to learning, and you got to be open to learning in this. I mean, it's nature. It's hard to figure it out as a science, but I think I'm getting a pretty good feel. I think all of us that do it, after a little while, you get a feel for it, and it not become so much science, but nature.
Now, do you believe that there's that big of a, is there that big of a window in between taking care of fish and then, like, let's say putting a tank up next to it and trying to take care of shrimp? Do you see any difference between, like, let's just say a tank of rummy nose tetras Pretty easy to take care of. Water changes, this and that. And then setting up, whether it be a Karadina or a Neocaradina shrimp, is there that much of a learning curve in between fish to shrimp, in your opinion? Do you have a tough time?
Not really, because I've kind of gotten to the point, like, for example, on my top row of one of my racks right here that I can look at, I have 2 tanks, 10-gallon tanks that are Karadina shrimp, and then 1 tank that is clown killifish. And I treat all 3 of them the same. In other words, the only thing I don't do to the clown killifish tank is I don't add minerals. So I use the active substrate and I use RO water in those 3 tanks. And whether it's fish or shrimp, they're all breeding. So to me, breeding fish is a sign of them thriving. And that's all I try to do. And sometimes I get lucky. I don't know how I did it, but that's kind of my goal every time I set up tanks. So I'll do the same thing, like put fish that I think like cardinal tetras, I'll put in a row of tanks that I know I'm using softer waters or water with tannins right next to them. That way I have like my regular water tanks separate from my soft water tanks. Doesn't matter whether it's shrimp or fish.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I try to do. All my Neos are on the bottom, and the Karadinas are the top 2 rows. So when it comes to water conditioners,
it just helps me remember, because I'm getting old. I got to do something to help me remember. Oh yeah, these go this way and these go this way.
But is there anything at all that, I mean, like when it comes to even water changes or what I'm trying to point out is, if anyone wants to get into the hobby and says, well, I know how to take care of fish, because some people are afraid to get into the shrimp, or they have gotten into shrimp and they died by accident.
Right.
But it's not like shrimp here don't die, from mistakes or whatever. But I'm just trying to see if that's just, you do your water the same with the fish as you do the shrimp, unless it takes an RO. Oh yeah, how's your water there? Do you have to mineralize it for like Neocaradina?
I have well water, so no, I don't really have to remineralize it. At least I haven't seen, because my Neos seem to be doing okay. The few that I have, mostly I have Karadinas, because I lost all my Neos and just been through a bunch of stuff with all the moves. But yeah, so I haven't really paid attention to how well the Neos do, and I don't have enough to say that I'm doing good with them. So I guess maybe that well water makes a difference. Maybe it's too soft. I don't know. But
so there's one thing that I want to do, and I don't know if you've ever done it. And now that you're with Jadrin, I don't know if it's something that you might do there just for a peace of mind. But have you ever, like, the only place that I think I know I could take it to is the pool store, but get your water tested. Like, I'm thinking of taking my tap water up, just curiosity to see if there's anything in there that I don't know about, because API test only does so many things, and it doesn't tell me if I have chloramines or chlorine or anything in my water. So,
right.
Is that something you've ever done? Or
no, but we do have one of those issues with the water at the store that we're trying to overcome, because we're not understanding some of the things that are happening with some of the tanks and some of the fish.
Oh yeah, what you were talking about. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we have to figure out, we're running it now through a filter to see if that's going to help. But it's the same water that Jason has at his house from the same city, same source. Right. So we're not understanding why we're having issues there. But that's also why I have fish that I'm keeping here, and then we have Patrick Neary keeping fish also.
Yeah, that's Blue Crown has me keeping some of his really high grade shrimps that the genes that he's been working on for a long time, because if his tank was ever to crash, you know,
Yes.
and it's not like I can't have any, but I mean, so I do that. Robbie sends me stuff all the time, um, to breed, because it's better than, having to buy them, because here's the thing: if you buy them and then sell them, then you have to keep buying, selling, and you're paying that premium price from that person every time. Well, if I buy them, bring them here and breed them, and then I have a tank of 200, I'm not buying them from nobody no more.
Right.
So that's a big thing. And then that way I could drop my prices.
Yes.
I don't have to charge as much as even what I paid. So I think that's big for the customer in the long run. But when it comes to your water, what I was trying to tell you the other day, what was told to me at least, especially on guppies, is he told me that when they breed guppies in like Taiwan, or in places that salt water is, because fresh water is more expensive. So they kind of water down salt water, so they're bred in brackish water.
Right.
And when they're shipped over here, what do? We hurry up and dump them into regular tanks, of water with no, it's not brackish at all. That's why a lot of times you go into fish stores and on their import day, and they put fish in there and they're dying that day or the next day, and people think, oh wow, this store sucks. Well, no, it's just the water that they came in. And so that's why, like, anything I get, when I got the fish, when I got the Shellies from Aquatic Arts, when I get these back here, I always test the water, for one, to make sure that I'm close to their parameters, but two, here's the thing: I couldn't test for salt or brackish. I don't have a salinity tester, so I'm kind of screwed, and I'd be in trouble on that aspect. So do you either test it or you drip all your fish or shrimp, everything?
Yes, and that's kind of, I'm more inclined to stick to the tried and true method of washing my fish or shrimp by drip acclimating and getting water, turning over the old water, replacing it with new. Dilution is the solution to pollution, kind of thing, and then get them ready for my tanks.
Yeah.
And the more that I've done a more disciplined process of washing my fish, washing the water, making sure that I'm not putting them in my tanks with any of the old water. It takes a lot longer, to do so, but I found that the fish acclimate much better and they survive much better.
Now, is that something you learned from somebody, or is that something that you just came up with?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I've always believed in acclimating the fish to the temperature, floating your bags, letting a little bit of water in at a time. That was the way I did it, way back in the day. And then I learned drip acclimation. So I started using breeder boxes that I use just a little bit of water and let it fill up. But I wouldn't let it to the point to where it's letting that water back into the aquarium, So I've tried all those different methods, and it's just kind of, I watch a lot of Lucas Brett's, and
that's the whole reason I asked.
Yeah, you kind of like I said, solution.
I'm not going to throw it out there. I just see it because I steal from Lucas all the time. I might not admit it, but that guy's got his stuff going on.
Yeah, he does. I've been a big fan for forever, man. And when I met him a couple of years ago in Aquashella in Chicago, it was such a blast. He's such a good dude, down to earth.
He is. Yeah, but it's that's why I was I got it. Posters, everything. Like Joe's in here. Joe Shrimp Shack said he heard that you love shrimp. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where he heard that from, but yeah, I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat. So everyone, we brought shrimp on for a little
yeah, I love shrimp, man.
Little one-on-one, and we thought we'd change it up a little, and get some, some knowledge from a lot of places, I should say. It has nothing to do with age. It's just, Papa Shrimp's been around here, there, and he's able to pick stuff up from different people over the years, and it's kind of priceless information. So if we get stuff going on that doesn't have to do with 100% shrimp, that's okay, because just that has to do with like water parameters and stuff like that. It is what it is. So, but on that note, I don't know. It's something I like to ask everybody. Do you have, it's kind of like a question that's impossible to answer, but I'm asking anyways. Do you have a favorite shrimp? Karadina, and then a favorite Neo, or?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, because of my colorblind issues, which is really not that bad, but it's enough to hinder me. My favorite color is blue, because that's a color that I can see no matter what. So I love blue velvet Neo Caradinas. That's what really got me started. Blue Fantasy Blues also. I think that was my first shrimp ever that I bought for $15. There was one blue shrimp, and I was like, I didn't know there was freshwater shrimp. And I bought it, and that started my decline into multi-tank syndrome, because I had I had too many. So the blue royal blue tigers or orange-eye blue tigers are also my favorite. But now, shameless plug, I bought some shrimp from this guy I know named Brian at Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics, and because they were blue steel, and of course blue being my favorite color, and they have become my favorite because they're like awesome. I got hundreds of them from the 5 or 6 that I bought from you.
Really? Are breeding that good?
Yeah, man, it's like consistent, constantly buried, and they're getting bluer and bluer.
That's one of the it's a very prolific tank. I don't know. It was funny because when you posted that, I was like, "Oh man, whose shrimp are those? Those are." That's why I was like, "Oh, nice." And they're like, "You're like they're yours." I was like, "Woo!" At least he posted somebody else's stuff. Yeah, me worried there for a minute.
No, I love to share the love, and I've been around. I've ordered from everybody to kind of get a feel, I think, as much as I could. I haven't ordered from Joe yet. I think I haven't ordered for some of the other shrimpers out there, but from Eric Lucas, from, of course, Flip Aquatics, Aquatic Arts, Lucas Bretts, and because I like to see what other people do, and then also some people have what other people don't.
Right.
And even though I have a fish store and I could find a source to import shrimp and buy hundreds at a time, what about me and my personal wants? I got to spend my own money to fill my tanks. And so that's kind of what I do. And I do my research and look around and see who has what I want, and I buy it.
Right. See, that's when I started, what was given to me for, information and, people just saying what they said, they're like, well, probably the best thing you should do is just buy like 2 types of shrimp, buy blue ones and red ones, and get about 5 tanks of each going. And I'm like, but that's kind of boring. It's kind of like giving a kid a blue crane and a red crane and saying that's all you get.
Right.
Instead of giving them the whole one, remember, and then it had the pencil sharpener on the back where you want the whole package. You don't want just 2 shrimp. So that's where, almost every color you could get, came out. I don't have like, purples and stuff like that. I don't really get into mixing Neo Karadina as much as I play with the Karadina.
Right.
So it's It's I guess more or less the outcome of mixing neos, other than just for looks, is the percentile. I think would be lower compared to Karadina. So if you mix a blue bolt and uh, I don't know, a black King Kong to get a shadow, that you're not going to get a bunch of wild shrimp
Right.
like you would with the Neos, just ones
Right.
without colors. Even though I don't know, a tank with all the colored shrimp without clear, a wild looking shrimp in there, I think you're missing that little bit, so it's good to have a couple. But I like when I breed the Caradinas that I don't get any wilds. I might get some uglies, but they're not wilds.
Right.
It's kind of how we look, after going through the virus and we put a couple pounds on. We're like, oh, then you lose it. And so. But I get some uglies, but they're still super pretty. I mess with shrimp over there. I got tanks breeding. I got tanks up here that I've done myself. The green rillies were sent to me. They were sent from Taiwan to Blue Crown, and then Blue Crown sent them to me and said, "Hey, look, they sent them to me and said, look, we got them this far now. Take them, finish them out." So that's why I have the green rillies. I don't sell them. I just breed them and breed them and breed them and pull out all the crap and try to, find like the male that is creating the crap, even though, because, the clear spot might have a little bit of green on top. Do I take that one out or do I take this one out? So more or less, I'm just letting them kind of free for all and get as many green rillies as I can, then kind of put all those babies to another spot and have those continue from there. But
yeah, I get it, because that's kind of what I started doing when I got into my multi-tank syndrome and started separating all my neos, and then I'd call them and start, I need 3 more tanks because I got 3 different varieties, and then I'd go ahead and do it and expand. Next thing you know, I have thousands and thousands of different neos that I'm trying to call and keep separated. And I was like, wow, this is fun. And then they asked me, somebody, I think it was Joseph from JH Aquatics. And he asked me, he was like, so do you have any Karadina? And I was like, honestly, no, I don't. And then I went on a Karadina kick and I bought every different possible panda, tangerine tigers, fancy tigers, galaxy pintos, blue bolts. I mean, just Santa Claus shrimp. I mean, I had all kinds of right before my house fire. So starting all over, it's now I'm trying to be smart about it and utilize my tanks properly. And it's hard to decide what's my favorite. What do I want to have? What do I want to mess with? What do I want to spend my time with? And then I got to figure out at the store what's going to sell. Am I going to spend all my time breeding these Karadina and then take them to the store and they never sell because they're too expensive or people don't know what they are? It's just, where do I want to concentrate my efforts? But it's fun, even though it's overwhelming.
But that's I think you doing it at home is a big deal because you can kind of bring a little in here, a little in there. I tend to see at at my buddy's store that I take my shrimp to where he sells them. Seems like everything sells. All the Neos, actually, one of the big sellers, he likes them, but the guy who's worked there since he was a kid, he's not a fan, but they sell fast, are the snowballs. Snowballs, I think they're incredible because when they're buried, it looks like they're carrying like these pure white orbs of like milk or, I mean, I've never seen anything so pure.
Like a sack of pearls.
Pearls, yes. It's gorgeous. And so they're a big seller, The only ones that and which I'm not, which I'm surprised. I mean, he sells them, but are the black rose. But other than that, red really sell. I sit on my orange reallys. I don't let them out too often because, I mean, they're like hotcakes. So it's like, I don't like to put too much out there, and I don't want to burn people out on colors and stuff. But yeah, they all seem to go good. But if you're gonna do the Karadina at home, then I take him like my selected calls out of the tank, like out of my fish bones. If the line doesn't go completely up, I'll be like, okay, well, I'll pull that one out. If it doesn't have any spots on the cheeks, I pull that out. If it's got spots, but no, anything I don't like, I call out. I sell it to him. Then he just mixes them in a tank, and they sell pretty darn good.
Right.
But like you're saying, what do you put in there? It's kind of like keep all your perfect ones at home, and then when somebody says, "Hey, where's your perfect ones at?" then you go, well, you're gonna have to stop by for that one,
Right.
But it's you keep all your gold bars in a safe,
Exactly.
So how many tanks did you have before your fire?
It was, I think, about 56, and I had 13 more waiting to be set up. And
So,
I had my 26 in my bedroom, 5 in my living room, and then I think it was another 22 downstairs in the garage.
And you lost all of it?
I lost everything upstairs. The 22 that were in the garage, they weren't affected by the fire. So that's why Jason came out the very next day. I had called him and said, "Hey, I need help. You're the only person I know with 100 aquariums. You got any space for all my shrimp and fish that are survived?" And he brought a generator out, and we spent about 7 hours that day between downstairs first, all the ones I knew were alive, and then we went upstairs and picked through what we could of the survivors in the upstairs tanks. None of them survived in my bedroom.
Right.
And all of my money, as far as my expensive Karadinas, that was all downstairs in the garage. So fortunately, it was just the thousands of Neos and my African cichlids and Shelleys that all perished in the fire.
Right. It's you kind of look at it and go, yeah, well, these I didn't lose, but the thing is like you say, it's everything means something to you. So even when one thing dies, let alone, I couldn't even imagine. Not only did you have a fire in your home, but also the smoke, the soot, everything, killing your animals and stuff. I mean, that's pretty detrimental to have to deal with.
Oh man, it was devastating. I was heartbroken, especially because I had just taken care of getting my LLC set up. I was getting my website going and really starting my home business. And it was such a kick in the teeth because not only was it affected everything. I mean, I lost pretty much everything. And so it's really cool that despite all of that, I persevered and I said, this is still what I want to do. I don't care. I don't care that everything failed and it burned up in smoke. I'm still going to do it. That's my dream and I'm going for it. So
how did you meet Jason?
I met Jason watching him on YouTube because I was looking for ways to do automatic water changes. So his video came up. And when I found out he was a printer, I was also trying to start my production company business back up, managing bands and doing flyers and all that stuff. So I was like, hit him up for the print shop side. And I was like, hey, man, I got a production company. And, oh, yeah, I have fish tanks. And I know you do, too. So let's nerd out. And we started emailing back and forth. And then in Chicago, Aquashella, I saw him at the airport on the flight in. And said, hello, I'm Papa Shrimp. And he was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And then we'll talk at Aquashella. So I hung out with Stephen Conroe. And then next thing you know, he introduced me to everybody, Priscilla and Carrie and Amber and Joseph and just everybody. And so I was hanging out with all of them. And they were like, oh, what's your channel? I was like, I got like 3 subscribers, man. And so they're like, well, hang out with us, man. You'll be all right. And so I pretty much hung out with them and Jason, entire Aquashella. and then flew back with Jason from Aquashella, and we just kind of hit it off and started hanging out.
Well, that's cool. So you went from a terrible situation to the situation you're in now, and I don't know if you guys are gonna change the name at all to maybe JP's or something.
J squared.
Yeah. How is it? Going from not knowing somebody to meet them, and now, going through the bad things that you went through with the fire and losing so much, and then
Later, Dan.
You've come to a place now where you're actually partnered up with a guy who does both things that you like to do. The print shop side and the aquatic side. How does that come about?
Shoot, I don't know. The only thing I can tell you is that the good Lord's been looking out for me, despite how it may seem and all the tragedies that I've been through, one thing after another. I mean, when I was in Aquashella in Chicago, that was the week that my mother had passed away. And I had to decide whether I was going to cancel my trip to Chicago and stay with my mom. But my son told me, well, didn't your mom tell you had to do this before she died? And I was like, yeah. He was like, so go. Okay. And then after that, my house burned. And then I went to go work with Flip Aquatics. And Jason was a big part of it because he called Rob and said, hey, man, you got to take advantage of this guy the situation with this guy, because he's willing to leave everything and go move up to Ohio. So I did. But I realized quickly I couldn't be that far away from my family. I just couldn't, man. I got 3 beautiful sons and 4 grandchildren. So I had to get back. And I'm glad that I did, because Jason the whole time we were still talking consistently, and he called me up and said, hey, I was thinking about opening a fish store. And I was like, if you do, I'm your guy. And then next thing you know, he did. And I moved back to Texas, and he was like, well, let's do this. All right. So here we go. And I don't know how, I don't know why, but everything is falling in place. And I'm going to enjoy the ride, Brian. I mean, shit, life's too short. And that's me being totally honest. It's too short. And I'm going to do what I do and do what I love and love what I do. So,
well, it's cool. It's cool the way he says how you guys, because it's just weird how people meet each other and don't know how, and he's like dumbfounded, man, I just get along so good with this guy and this and that, and it's funny to hear it, because it's like, at times you may ask yourself throughout life, where are there people just like me somewhere? Is there someone that can deal with me, and be around me 24/7, and you just run into somebody, and next thing you know, you're running a business with them.
Yeah, and and I guess everything happens for a reason, and this one really did, because he started the store because of the print shop business really, really getting to almost zero business with COVID. And so he needed a source of income, and the store was perfect for him, an online store. And as that happened, the print shop came back online, and it got too much for him. And he was like, dude, I need your help. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm available. It's just I live an hour away. So, I can go Mondays and Tuesdays. Well, the more I started helping them, the more the business is growing. We start doing shows, the name's getting out there, the more the business is growing, the more I need to be there, more business he's getting from the print shop, to a point to where he's like, I can't do this. Do you want it? And I'm like, yes. So that's kind of the deal that we made, was that he's so busy with the print shop that I'll take care of the fish store. And of course, when he can, he'll help, and he does a lot. So I think it's just a perfect combination of things and at the right time. Now,
Right.
whether we're successful and continue to grow, we'll have to see. But I think him and I both are open to learning and absorbing as much from everybody, to make the right choices and make this a good business. And he's mentioned the name. He wonders, he was like, I never thought when I started my YouTube channel that I'd have a business, and now be going, I never thought about the name being an issue or something that I might reconsider.
There you go. Yeah, it's I think you guys be around for, you guys be a staple in the community, I think, for a long, long time, just because it's two people that, everyone likes. You guys are both likable. It's it just seems like a good fit. I don't, it's not like you hear of all these super cool stories. I mean, Jason does streams and takes you to places where there's, warehouses and stuff like that, but it's not like you hear of all these super cool stores in Texas. I mean, I'm sure maybe there are fish stores, but I've seen Jason on YouTube and I've been stuck ever since. And there's some shows I've watched where look, I'm sure I'm boring at times too, and I'll be like, I need a break from this. But him, it's just, and now the two of you, it's just like, I mean, it's not Laurel and Hardy, but it's it's really funny, because he's, you're the business side and he's the jokester, and it's like you guys just bounce off each other like ping pong, and he'll just sit over there and laugh, and then you'll be sitting there all and then it switches, you're laughing and he's business. It's a good mix. It's good to see that. It's kind of like,
thanks, man. I like our dynamic. It's kind of fun, and that's why we were thinking about streaming like this from two different places. But I think we work really good in the same room. We just got to fix our equipment issues. I rewatched last night's stream, and I was like,
it's surprising that it's got to be something with the Wi-Fi, I would think, because if you're hardwired for it to spit and sputter like it was doing, usually it doesn't do that. So I don't, it might be a loose connection somewhere coming into the building or something, but
yeah, it was weird because the other one that we did from his room, it didn't have that problem. Mm-hmm. So last night was kind of strange that we were sitting there for 30 minutes, hey, it's the first time we've had everything set up properly.
Right.
It wasn't until afterwards we were like,
Right. But hey, like it went good. I mean, it's not like, it's kind of like I felt like I was a kid again, and you're going to turn the antenna on your dad's TV, and he said, turn it forth a little more in the antenna, and they're spitting and sputtering. I grew up like that, so it was all right. It was.
You got to adjust the foil.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have, I mean, it's really weird. I don't know if you do, but do you have like any, techniques or anything that you do special for Karadina or Neo Karadina to maybe make them breed, or have you ever had an issue where they got a bacterial infection or anything that you've had to deal with? Have you ever run into that, and have you dealt with it to where it actually worked?
Yes and no. It's a combination of things. I've experienced all of those, all of the above. I mean, how can you not?
Right.
Especially with the course of where I've been and who I've worked with, I've seen a lot of stuff. When it comes to treatment, I have to fall back to the best thing I've ever seen work with the bacterial infections, which was working there at Flip Aquatics. And Jeff had that process of using the Maricin and Maricin 2 at half the dosage that it's recommended and dosing the tanks with it. And that seemed to work effectively for clearing up any of the bacterial issues with the Karadina and the Neos. The only difference was that with the Neos, he would treat also with Turbo Start, not the Karadinas, because Turbo Start doesn't do well in the softer waters.
And what's Turbo Start?
The Fritz Turbo Start, the refrigerated live bacteria stuff.
Oh, live bacteria. Okay.
Yeah. So that was, from what I've seen in person on a big scale versus my tank scale. Yeah, that's the best treatment I've seen. I've never had to do it. The only thing I've really had to treat my tanks for is for Hydra or Planaria, which I use either the No Planaria or the Panicure C.
Now,
I like Panicure C better. It works better than No Planaria.
Yeah.
But everybody says we're supposed to stay away from it because it kills good bacteria as well. I just haven't seen that issue because I do a water change as soon as I can after treatment.
With Panicure, they say it kills good bacteria?
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard that. Maybe I'm not on the same Wi-Fi channel. I never heard it because it's supposed to just kill worms. I didn't know that it killed bacteria too.
Well, for me, it's killed the worms, it's killed the Hydra, it's killed the snails, and it kills the algae too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I've had it clear up
the snails because it all has to do with the worms, anything that's got that slime coat, it like dries it out or something.
Right.
That's good to know. See, that's what I'm saying. I did not know that. So, that says Wi-Fi channel. Okay, now I'm going to ask you something. We can get back to what I asked you before, but I'm going to ask you something. See if you can say this without the government coming after you. Is there anything that you could tell us that Flip has done that we don't know that are secrets? Because ever since I've watched Flip, he's never, ever, ever, and I hope Rob watches this, he's never, ever, ever given away anything until recently when he said Mirrors and Mirrors 2, and now I have it up there. I use it. But that man has never given anything away. And probably about 7 months ago, he put up a thing saying he was looking for employees. And so I messaged him. I said, hey, I'll come work for you. It's 3.5 hour drive one way, but I'll come work for you. And I said, how much does it pay? And he told me how much it paid. I said, I need a lot more than that. But I was thinking, just give me a week to get to your little secrets and I'll be all right. Now, does he have any secrets that you can give? Do you have to sign a waiver before you work for Flip?
No comment.
Well, I'm really serious about it because, some people know a lot of stuff. And of course, they might not want to let everything out because if people have a shrimp problem with disease or dying, well, people sell stuff, and then they call you and say, hey, I need help or this or that. So it's totally understandable. But I've always wanted to get inside that man's brain. And I even told him at Aquacella, I was like, I even tried to get a job at your place. He started laughing.
I think the biggest secret that he has that's not really a secret is the development of the medicine. It's a food, but it's a medicinal type food used for curing the oopsie-daisy disease. I call it oopsie-daisy, Lollobopsidae, whatever it is.
Yeah, Lollobopsidae, yeah.
Yeah, well, I call it oopsie-daisy. It's easier to say. So right. That disease, he's been working on that food medication for a while. And while I was there, we had certain tanks that we used for any of the shrimp that had that, and we'd feed them this medicine. And from what I saw, I think it works. I just don't know if it works well enough for him to put his name on it and say, yes, this cures the oopsie-daisies.
For sure. I
But
have team care, but that's through Eric and all them, because Eric sells it for the people in Germany. So I sell the team care here, for that.
it's more of a, from what I know, it's got a lot of mint or peppermint or something in there, because I could smell it. It smelled like I was putting Ben Gay in the aquariums, I was like, this is minty, and the shrimp loved it.
Right. Well, that's good that he's working on something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Rob's Rob's funny, and it's I commented to him because I don't know if you've ever seen him on a live stream where he says that, because his eyes are always glossy. And I stood there right in front of him. I said, hey, just like I'm telling you right now, it's, you say people think you're high or something's messy. You got some glossy eyes. So it's he's really funny. You could joke with the guy. And I mean, he's like, he's like your next door neighbor. It's like LRB, all these guys and girls, that are in the hobby were just incredible. It's just so many people weren't there because I think they're, like recouping from heart surgery or some bullshit. But, something like that. But well, that's good to know that you could keep secrets. I know someone that I could talk to now at times.
The only other thing that he doesn't say it enough, I don't think, is that the biggest thing to all of it, and I think it's a big attribute to his success, is you got to love it. And you got to have a passion for it that exceeds logic. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but you kind of got to be crazy fanatic about doing what you do, especially at his level, and the amount of shrimp that he sells and the way he does it. I mean, you have to be a fanatic and you have to love it. And that was one of the biggest things when I left Flip Aquatics. We had a little party, we had some cake, we all had a nice chat together, and they all said, we want to hear some of your words of wisdom before you leave. And I told them at that point too, I said, no matter what happens in life, no matter anything at all, do not sway. Stay the course, do what you love and love with what you do. And if you don't, then change it.
Right.
Up to you. No matter what, because look at me. I'm a good example. I got kicked in the nuts I don't know how many times, and I keep falling down, but I get back up.
It was a big bowl too. I saw it. That was a big bowl. Yeah.
So that's all about, you got to love what you do. And I think Rob does. And sometimes you can see it. You can see it on his face. He just loves what he does.
Well, see, sometimes it could be fake too. But when you meet people like that, like LRB, Flip, you watch people and, hey, look, throughout life, people do stuff to make money. But God, you meet these people, and like you're saying, you not only see them on YouTube looking a certain way, but when you meet them, and it's like you just see little shrimp going in their eyeballs, and it's just the hobby itself to see how happy it makes someone. That they really are true, and like you say, they take it to heart. And when you're working on medicines and stuff to better the hobby, or just even to better your product before you sell it to somebody, because a lot of people don't do that. That's like, I sit on my shrimp because of LRB. Because of Flip. I do water changes because of LRB, how you were saying, washing the water out of the fish, or out of this or out of that. There's so many things that I do because of LRB. So many things I do because of Flip. There's so many things that I do because of Corey from Aquarium Co-ops. There's things that I do because of you and Jason. It's just, like the Snails with Jason, it's just I watch you guys. It's like, I picked this up. What do you feed them? I don't think many people with YouTube channels actually realize they're helping, so many people out there. So me having a YouTube channel, I don't even know if I'm even touching the surface because there's so many other people out there that know more. But if I can help a beginner get to a certain place, then I'm pretty happy with that,
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things. It's such a misnomer that just because we have a store doesn't make us experts, if that makes any sense.
Or
and just
better
because
than
we have
someone
a
else.
channel doesn't make us experts.
Right.
And I'll be the first one to tell you, hey, I'm learning right along with you. But if there's anything that I've learned, it's that keeping everything to myself isn't doing anybody any good, not even me. So I might as well share it. If it helps somebody, even if it's just one person, then great. Even if it's just helping me talk it through, think it out, and then go, hey, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll try this.
Right.
I just got to get better at recording. Well, I'm good at recording content. I'm horrible at putting it together because I have hours and hours of footage that I haven't done anything with yet because I
reel to reel.
Yeah. But I got all my stuff on my phone or my camera, and I get overwhelmed with other stuff, work, the shop, cleaning tanks, selling fish, whatever it is. There's just not enough time. I got to get better at time management.
But hey, there's nothing. In my opinion, there's nothing more positive than not enough time. It's when you have too much time that you start to fall off. I think when you stay busy and focused, that's when hey, all the pistons are running. Everything's going good. It's well-oiled machine.
Right. I just like the fact that no matter what, at least I'm doing what I want to do and having fun doing it. So it's just a matter of learning how to juggle things a little bit better, make better decisions. But like I said, I don't care. I'm learning every day, learning better ways to do things. And at the same time, minding my health and the quality of life, because that's something I will never take for granted ever again.
So, where was I going to go with that? I guess are you going to add an area within the store for shrimp? Because, or do you have an area right now that's, okay, there is a shrimp area within his store?
Yeah, we set up 6 Fluval Flex 9 gallons for the Karadina shrimp. So I have them on a wall.
Oh, the curved fronts.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But we got the 9-gallon size because that's, just about the right size. And the last one that I had that were 9 gallons was a little shrimp factory. So we have those set up, and I have some blue bowls and some black crystals and some other pintos. Oh, and some tigers, black and red tigers. So that's what we have in there now, and we're slowly filling them up with more. But it's taken us. Jason just got them filled with water when I was in the hospital with my surgery. So we let them set empty and cycle for quite a bit. And I brought plants and spider woods from my aquariums, and I put them in there, to kind of help seed it a little bit and get it going.
I would have to say probably, I know so many people talk about how important certain woods are in a tank, but until you put that spider wood in a tank and see that slimy algae, it's the
biofilm.
The biofilm that grows on that. Oh my gosh. I've never seen anything that you stick in a tank that grows biofilm like that. And the shrimp go nuts.
Yep.
That stuff, I wondered, I don't think they sell it because they know that it's that. I think they just sell it for the price they do because of what it looks like. But that stuff's got to be the craziest biofilm builder that I've ever seen in my life. Do you happen to know why? Is it because it's a root or what?
I'm not sure if it's that or the density of the wood. whereas the Malaysians are not as hard as spider wood, so I believe it absorbs it better than the spider wood. It can't absorb it as much, so it grows on the outside like crazy, if that makes any sense.
Is it too because of how smooth it is, maybe?
Possibly, but I just think it's the grain sizes of the wood itself. The makeup of the wood is just so much tighter that it's not letting bacteria grow in, but it's allowing it to grow on. Whereas Malaysian lets it absorb more and grow in as much as it does out. So you don't see it as much on the outside because it's also on the inside. But that's just me.
Yeah, and it doesn't break down. Because at my buddy's store, he's got a big rack right there behind the shrimp rack, and he's got all of his branches and this and that, and he's got huge pieces of that stuff. But in all the 5 gallons where he sells the shrimp, he's got one of those in every tank, and then in the center, he put a big piece. And before he ever put shrimp in there, that got so nasty, so nasty with slime. And he said, "Hey, bring me 100 fire reds." Sorry, put it in there. He's like, man, I can't even see them. Like 2 days later, that tank was crystal clear and all that snotty slime was gone. They ate it all.
Oh yeah. It's good stuff. I mean, the first time I used spiderwood, I freaked out. I was like, what happened to my tank?
Right.
Because I'd never seen the biofilm grow like that. Just I'm so used to Malaysian, and I never saw that on Malaysian driftwood. And then I did it again, and I was kind of like, oh, well, that happened last time. And then I started doing some research, and I was like, oh, that's biofilm. No wonder the fish are eating it, and the shrimp seem to be enjoying it. And then more and more started clicking as I learned more that, wow. So I can use that to my benefit, actually, to help cycle the tanks and get that biofilm going. And it also will spread to where it'll form a carpet on your substrate.
Yeah, and that, in itself, because I've been wanting to get it, but it's very expensive. But if you notice, if you go into a store on that, I know because my buddy sells it, but in a store that sells anything for lizards or anything like that, they have that long grapevine. Well, that's like the same stuff, because when I was breeding discus, I went to a store and this guy had this long, it was like grapevine or something. It was really hard. And I said, "What's that?" And he's like, "Oh, you can have it. A customer brought it in one of the tanks. I don't want it." And I brought it home and put it in that. I cleaned it off, put it in my discus tank because it looked so cool. And it just, in days, swelled up with biofilm. And I was like, "Ooh, what's that?" I took it back. I said, "Dude, I don't know what's on this thing, but take it back." And he's like, "Oh, it's just biofilm." And I said, "Well, let me see if I can get rid of it." So I brought it home, scrubbed it up again, stuck it back. It did it again. I took it back. I said, "Yeah, I don't want it." And then when I got out of discus, I got into shrimps, and I was like, "Ooh, I should have kept that thing." Sliced it up like pieces of sausage and just threw it in. But to buy that stuff, some of it's pretty big, but I think if we were to start buying it as shrimp keepers and cut it up, cut all those roots off of it, cut it in pieces and just drop little chunks in there, as much biofilm as it grows, you shouldn't need much, because I do. Leah Jet has a thing on the cinnamon stick, the wood from the cinnamon sticks. You boil it, get all that stuff off of it and everything, and then you put it in the tanks, and it grows extreme amounts of biofilm. Well, I can't see it because the shrimp are always over it, attacking it, or the snails are on it eating it, and they literally eat it. It turns to like paper, and just they devour it. But and I stopped using the Indian almond leaves and the cholla wood or choya wood, whatever, because it breaks down so much and it goes into the substrate, and it causes, if you bump it, it just goes everywhere. And I'm trying to keep the tanks cleaner. So if we were to go to that, do the Mapani wood instead and cut it up in chunks and just put pieces in every one and let that sucker get really, I'm wondering what the survival rate would be on shrimplets then, because I mean I do really good, but I it's not like I can count all the ones that come off of a female and go, oh well, they all lived.
Right.
But I'm wondering if I do that, if I go buy a piece and I cut them all off and put it, in multiple tanks, if that would make a big, huge difference.
I think it would, because I've found the process, because I buy a lot of small pieces of spider wood. It's only 4 to 6 inches, with the little branches. I love those for all my tanks, because I'd rather have 6 pieces of those that I can stack in my tank, and then it creates just a big giant mound of biofilm. And that, I love it, because like I said, I can take that, put it in my other tanks, help seed those tanks. And then also I use it because I use a lot of Sawasser tang. So I like to use the spider wood to just lay it right on top of the Sawasser tang and hold it in place. And eventually it'll attach to that spider wood. And then you got a nice little spider wood bush that when you're doing maintenance, you just pick it up and move it, and then clean up that spot and put it back. And then you're like, ta-da.
Yeah. It's I tried to, almost every Karadina tank I have is just all Sawasser tang, because it's the moss. I got Karadina tanks with just moss in it too, but the moss is the stems on it are very small. Christmas moss to all these mosses, whatever they're called. But the Sawasser tang, it's flat and it's wide, so it grows biofilm better, and it cleans the water really well. And I spin it around and I fluff it up and get all the gunk out of it and stuff, and the shrimp just disappear in there forever.
Oh yeah,
it's like, where's all the shrimp? Then all of a sudden you look and there's babies everywhere. So it's probably one of the best that I found with all these tanks that the shrimp really respond to. Like I said, I got moss in every one. They do really good in it, but they don't disappear like they do in the Sawasser tank.
Right.
But yeah, so I got that stuff coming out my ears.
Yeah, I love it. I've loved it ever since. In fact, I have one of my first few videos I did. I had gotten a bunch of Sawasser tang and put it in a bare bottom portrait style aquarium, and it was just floating around in circles and little pieces floating off and going back together. And I just sat there for like 5 minutes mesmerized, and I was like, uh-oh, camera time. And I got out my camera and started recording it, and next thing you know, I made a short video of it. Well, it's like 6 minutes, but it's so hypnotizing watching it. And I was like, whatever, I'll call it Sawasser tang dancing Sawasser tang, I don't know. And I put one of my original songs on it and threw it on there. Now that video probably has been one of the most popular that I've ever made. And it's crazy because it's just Sawasser tang floating around in the tank. But yeah, that's how much I love the look of the stuff. I love how, I guess, adaptable it is to where if you want to grow it in a pile, if you want to attach it to something, if you want to trim it, if you want to do like Mark's shrimp tanks and make little sculptures out of it. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and it's so good because of the surface area.
Hey, remember that tank he has in his back when he used to have it full of that? How he used to have it growing down in it? That tank looked sweet. It looked like Planet of the Apes or something.
Yeah, I watched all of that with the little Sawasser tang ropes. That
right. And he just did all that. He's like, oh, forget this stuff. I don't do it. He had like this incredible looking tank, and it was just like, it's just, no more of that. But that's why I got into Sawasser tang, because how he showed what it does and what you can do with it. I just throw it in the tank and leave it, but I spin it all the time. I rotate it, and it helps with the slimy hair algae too. But it's really good stuff. The shrimp really like it. It holds a lot of food in there, and you don't have to feed as much. But tell that to me when I come in here and I see them and go, "Oh, you guys need something to eat, don't you?" And then they eat, So you always overfeed. I as much as I preach, it doesn't matter. I don't practice what I preach, so but they're good with it anyway. So
yeah, one of the questions you asked earlier that we never really got back into was when you said, "Do I do anything special that I think helps the fry or breeding?" And man, I've tried different things that I think maybe help or don't help, but I stick to the basics and keep it shrimple, and it boils down to healthy water. Now, that doesn't mean I'm changing it every day or every other day or every 2 weeks even. I have a feel for my tanks when I think the water isn't looking right. And then I'll do a change depending on how bad or good it looks. But I try to keep the water stable and small amounts of Bacter AE and shrimp baby. Those are because I like the powdered forms. I think that helps coat the tank and feed the water and kind of give the baby and the fry a chance if the water's being fed versus a chunk of food that they have to fight for with the parents that are always trying to swim away with the chunk. So it's those little things that I think try not to overcomplicate it, but keep healthy water and feed them right. And
are there any telltale signs that you notice with shrimp that you might be like, oh, I need a water change? Even if the water looks good, is there anything that shrimp do that spark your thoughts of
when they start swimming upside down? And that's when I kind of know. I mean, I can tell the difference now between when it's just the males looking for that female that just molted and they're swimming around excitedly, which is really cool to watch.
Right.
Versus when they're kind of jerky and kind of float upside down and just do that kind of thing where they look like they're about to die. Yeah, I've seen that with crystal clear tanks, and it looks like the water's perfect as can be. And the next thing you know, I have a die off. And then the next day there's another one. And then the next day there's another one. So when I run across that, I just, first things first, I get rid of the dead bodies so that way they don't create any ammonia spikes. And I do a quick water change after making sure that my GH is where I want it.
Have you ever had problems with snails dying in the tanks? Do you keep snails in your tanks?
Yes, and yeah, the snails die. I definitely have a problem, but it as far as not all of them do. So it really depends on, like, some of the ram's horns do great, but the other snails, the regular common snails, they don't do well. And I believe that's because they need a little bit more minerals and calcium in the water. So I don't have any problems with Malaysians or ram's horns, it seems.
I had problems with the ram's horns. I was somebody a while back, I can't remember. I was having problems with the tanks. Not, of course, don't know everything, and they said, hey, do you got ram's horn snails? I said, yeah, why? And they said, are any of them dead? Do you see a dead shell? And I was like, yeah. And they said, well, that's been one of the biggest things. Get rid of your ram's horns because they're probably dying and creating ammonia. So I hurried up and tested the water, and wouldn't you know, there was ammonia. So one thing I try to do all the time is when I come into the shrimp room is I'll look really quick, even though I can't see behind the moss, but I'll look really quick and make sure there's no dead ram's horns in the front of the tanks, because that'll be a quick telltale if one died overnight or something like that. I just don't know. I mean, I know cutting back on food and stuff, they kind of control their own amount of shrimp, but I just don't understand why they die, because everything else is living in the tank. There's algae, biofilm, and everything. So it's got to be like what you said. There's not enough calcium or something that's just not letting them live to a certain length of time, because if they're producing more eggs, then why are ones that are like, let's say, the size of a dime dying, or a little smaller than a dime, but they're laying more eggs? So there's got to be something in the tank that isn't producing enough to keep them going.
Right.
So whether it be food or, like you say, biofilm or calcium, but that was my problem back a little while ago. I was like, my Tangerine Tiger. I was known so much for that tank. I was selling 200-300 at a time, sending them to California, and I made that video. I came down here and they were all gone, but like 7. It all just died, and except like 7. But there was so much Sawashitane in there. I didn't know. I thought they were just swimming in there. But the death of the snails wiped out the whole thing. Now I moved them, the ones I had over there. Now I'm getting a huge colony again. But it was that fear of something so small. And then we can come back to something like that. I can ask you about Flip. Is when you would do the Marison 2, when you would see a bacteria, was that if that's something you did do, do they do that? Like if they see a shrimp with a red head, or even without a red head, do they do the medication? Is that a good thing to do medication, or is it better to do a small water change and wait and see if another dies? Because I think this is like one of the most important questions for me. Do you hurry up and freak out, or do you back up and go, well, let me see what happens tomorrow or a week from now? Because usually when that bacteria starts, that's when you hear people say, well, I started to lose one like every other day, or, so many a week. So is there a time? Do you start right at the beginning, or do you just wait?
I think it's best to just wait, because the worst thing for shrimp is inconsistency. So anytime you start messing around with the parameters, water changes, whatever it may be, you're going to mess with that stability that they're accustomed to. So you got to kind of take it in stride. One of the things that Flip does is that every day shrimp are counted. And so like any of the dead shrimp in every single tank, we take account for it. And I know because I did it every day. And I count every dead shrimp in a tank. And after a little while of doing it, you kind of get a feel for it that, okay, these I'm going to lose on average 3 or 4 a day. And out of 100 or 200 shrimp in an aquarium, that's not too bad. That's kind of par for the course, whatever it may be. But when I start seeing 8, 9, 10 shrimp dead, now we have a problem. So that's where Rob would make a decision. Okay, I think it's at a level now that we'll go ahead and treat the tank. Or let's wait till tomorrow and see what the data tells us, because we just did a water change. So, and the water changes were scheduled unless we were having a problem. And I never saw a big problem enough for us to freak out over there and go, we got to change everything.
Right.
There was always a way to just use the data that we were accumulating and kind of make a decision on how to go about from there. Me personally, I hate losing anything. So I freak out inside, and I'm like, I lost one. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And then I have to remind myself, just calm down. Do what the simple stuff. Are there a bunch of dead snails at the bottom? Is there a bunch of dead plants even? Anything that could cause an ammonia spike. Is there a dead body somewhere that I can't find that's creating an ammonia spike? And have I been overfeeding? And then once I check that list off, then I go, okay, what's the next step? I've answered those questions now. And usually I wait till the next day. And if I see another dead one, then I'll do a water change, probably about a 10%. And then I cross my fingers and just hope that I'm doing the right thing. But I prefer to keep it as consistent and stable as possible. I think that's the best way.
Now, with shrimp, when a shrimp dies, sometimes it'll have that red head, and it could be a telltale sign that it's a bacteria issue. But can a shrimp die from bacteria and not have a red head? Not like show any signs that there's something wrong in the tank, and maybe it just died of age or a bad molt?
That's a really good question because I'm red-green colorblind. So when it comes to a red head, I haven't seen that myself. What I have seen is in Neos, I can tell when they have the muscular necrosis.
Necrosis, yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely, especially on the fantasy blues. You can see that because they light up like it. They look like they're neon blue and fluorescent, and they're swimming under a black light. And it's like, oh, it may look like it's swimming around all nice and healthy, but I can tell just by seeing it. I'm like, I got to get that one out.
So, is there any way to take care of necrosis?
I don't know what it is, but I'm interested in trying some of that aquachar and seeing if that. I saw what Grant Eater did on a video where he had a bacterial bloom and he used it, and it sucked all of the pollutants out of the water and helped his fish or shrimp.
Was it something he just dropped in the tank?
Yeah, it's like a substrate. It can be used as a substrate or, an additive in your sumps or, kind of like charcoal, but it's just chunk charcoal, but it's purified and it's washed and whatever so that it absorbs the maximum amount of pollutants out of your water.
So because
I'd like to try that more, but the only thing I've seen them get better only because I took my shrimp that were sick before my house fire. I take all of my sick shrimp and put them in the very first aquarium that I set up in that house that was seasoned over a couple of years. And they seemed to get better and start producing, and they'd live until they were huge. So I was like, I don't know what I did. I don't know if there's anything special about it, but it seemed like whatever bacteria problem they had in the season tank, there was enough beneficial bacteria to take care of it.
So it sounds like, it's something that is repairable, and it's not a guaranteed death sentence.
I don't think it is. I don't freak out when I see it and like everybody else, oh, you got to boil everything and destroy it all and bleach it and throw the tank away. No.
Yeah, I've never done none of that. I've seen it in my shrimp. It's I've taken some out before, but so I don't know. With what you're saying, it kind of sounds like if maybe something possible to do is if you happen to see necrosis in one of your shrimps, maybe take it out, but maybe just put some live bacteria in the water too to maybe bump up something that it doesn't have.
That's why I believe in what Rob was doing at Flip when he's treating the Neos with also the Turbo Start. I think that's it's boosting the beneficial bacteria, and it's giving them something that they can actually, the shrimp will eat the Turbo Start. And I don't know if you've seen Priscilla's video, because she did a video where she used a teardropper and you could see the drop go in the water and the shrimp just swarmed it like crazy because they were eating the bacteria. So I would imagine that extra amount, additional bacteria helps. Yeah, I don't know if it works, but it helps.
Yeah, Rob, the live bacteria that I have that I sell for the Karadina, he would tell me, every time you do a water change, put in 1 milliliter in the tank. And I was like, for what? And he's like, well, it helps keep that bacteria built up in the tank, because the shrimp tear everything up, they're eating everything. And, if it's not replenishing itself by itself, you want to help it out. And but I use Fritzyme 7.
Right.
So I've never used Turbo Start, but I didn't know. To me, this is what I thought, but maybe you would change my idea. But is one live bacteria the same as the other, or?
I don't believe so. There has to be a difference of why you have to keep Turbo Start refrigerated versus the Fritzzyme 7 that you do not have to keep refrigerated. Right. So I believe that it's whether one's not actually live or not. It says they both are. So I don't know. Right. But there's definitely, I think, especially when cycling a tank, because I had to in an emergency situation, I had to just jump start a tank and put my shrimp in there, and I used the Turbo Start 700, and they were wonderful.
Yeah, it says Fritz does incredible stuff. I mean, it says right on their bottles, instant cycle, you know, they're like, get up and go.
Somebody says, or S says the bacteria in Fritz 7 is dead.
Oh, well, maybe that's why you don't have to keep it refrigerated. I don't know. I thought it was alive.
Yeah, we use it at the store.
Yeah, it says live nitrifying bacteria naturally removes ammonia and nitrate.
Right, but I think Turbo Start 700 is exactly that. It's meant to start your tank, you know, ASAP.
Yeah. Yeah, this says to rapidly seed biofilters rather than waiting weeks for these bacteria to grow naturally. It says it can be added to established systems after water changes, cleaning, adding new livestock, or medicating to reestablish and strengthen the existing biofilter. Yeah, it says it's live, but that don't mean nothing.
I probably should see if I can work something out with Sean up here at Fritz and, you know, tour the place and maybe get a little education on the product.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
Especially since we're selling Fritz stuff through our store, might as well, you know, get a little bit of background information from Fritz themselves.
Yeah, because see, I changed from everything that I used to use all the other stuff, Prime and everything. But I was like, you know, when I was talking to my buddy and everything, Fritz has been around so long. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to go back to this and use this. And I mean, I can't say that it's better than any of the other ones, you know, Stability and Prime and stuff, but they seem to work. They do what I want them to do, put it that way.
Right.
You know, I'm no scientist, you know, like I can't expect you to answer certain questions. So, but it works really good. It stinks. So it's got to work.
Yeah. The Turbo 700 definitely stinks. I remember I'd walk into a shop or into the pond room there at Flip, and I was like, what's that smell? The first time I was like, that's nasty. And I'd go over to the one wall of the cherries, you know, ponds, and the water's like this neon greenish yellow, colorblind again. So it's a weird color to me. And I'm like, something's wrong with these tanks, man. And they're like, no, we treated them with Turbo 700. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, how am I supposed to count dead shrimp? I can't see through pea soup.
That's crazy. See, yeah, when I see his videos and see those big, huge vats, I'm like, how are you able to tell if any of those shrimp have allobiopsy? Because you have these 300-400 gallon vats that have, you know, 500 shrimp, and you're telling me that you go through them to make sure. It's like, but how? But see, that's what I'm saying. Skill, knowledge, ability. It's like, you know.
Trust me, it took me the first week that I was there to really get the system down. And I thought Rob was crazy when he'd say, like, nope, you missed 3. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I'd go back and look at, oh, I did. And he was like, yeah, I've just been doing it forever. And I'm like, okay. So then after about that first week, I kind of caught on, and you get a system, and then it's like, yeah. And Rob would go back and it was like, man, you didn't miss any today. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I finally got it down to where I could go through and check every single tub pull out the dead ones, and you can tell, the other ones, when you see them swimming around, if they float on their side, you see that big giant oopsie-daisy on them. It's like, yeah, we pull them out immediately and throw them in the quarantine tanks where we're treating them. So it's surprising, but yes, there is somebody dedicated to pulling out the sick shrimp and making sure that they're not sent out to customers. And the same thing, when he picks shrimps for orders, he checks every single batch to make sure that they don't have any.
I can see that. Yeah. But still, I mean, as much as I know, you don't want. I mean, if there's a shrimp in your tank with elebiops today, it's really not a threat until it dies. So, because you don't want the other shrimp to eat it because it really doesn't come off of it. So for him to be able to go through that stuff and then kind of not shake the shrimp up so it comes off, there's a lot of, it's kitty glove handling when it comes to shrimp and, stuff like that, because if it blooms the whole thing, you got to get rid of them all, So yeah, that's a lot of hard work.
Yeah. And trust me, that was one of the things that even as a colorblind person, I knew Rob had the same colorblind that I do. So it was one of those things that I could see, even though I'm colorblind, I could see it. You can't miss it. You can't not see it. So after a while, it definitely got a lot easier to be able to tell just right off the bat. It was more common in certain strains than others.
It's disgusting looking.
Yeah, it is. That's why I was like, oops, a daisy.
Now, a while back, I don't know. A while back, I had come across someone that had said Paragard could help cure it. Now, long time ago, I had a couple and I put them in a 5-gallon tank and put Paragard in there, and the shrimp never died.
Huh.
So, that's why I keep it in case anything happens. But I also, like I said, I have Temacare. I keep. I'm sure you've seen this stuff before. I don't know if Rob uses it, but this is what they sell from Germany. It's that medicated food that you feed to them, because that's why I tell people, if you're gonna buy imported shrimp, there's nothing wrong with having something in your arsenal that you feed them every once in a while, because from what I learned from Blue Crown is the stuff can come up at any time. It can stress. Stress can bring it out.
Kind of like Nick.
Yeah, the shrimp can be a carrier, and it can never show it.
It's asymptomatic.
Yeah. So, or it can come out. So it's kind of scary, But that's why I just tell people, hey, look, I sell this. If buying imported shrimp, just Neos, because Karadina don't get it. But if you need it for something, it's good to have, But that's
always something that I've wondered. You know how when you get your fish and they get ick, you put them in a tank, you raise the temperature, you add some salt, and you treat them, right? That's the common practice that everybody uses. So in cases of what you just said, so why don't Karadina get the oopsie-daisies? Well, and I think it has something to do with the pH and the softer waters. And if that's the case, wouldn't it be just as logical to take Neos and put them in a softer water, more acidic environment to also treat them, because they can endure the swing in the pHs better than Karadina can the harder water conditions.
Yeah, I have Neos that'll breed all day, have babies all day in Karadina water, but flip-flopping it. If you put crystal reds in tap water, if they breed, they might, but it's harder for them. But I was always told that the reason the elebiopsy happens is because they breed the shrimp outdoors, like everyone knows, and the bird poop and everything that gets in there, that's the that's what is the cause of it. But like you said, if they're brought up in a softer water, would it? Well, that's a good study because
Right.
if you were to get, I wonder if Rob's done something like that. If you had a shrimp that had Allobiopsidae and you took it out and you dripped it into Karadina water and then left it in there to see if it would go away.
Right. That's interesting. I've never received any shrimp from anybody that had the Oopsie you know.
Right.
I just never. I never saw it until I went to work at Flip. But he's importing at numbers that, you know, I'll probably never see in my lifetime. Maybe someday, but I probably will never see those types of numbers in my lifetime. And I'm not sure I want to, you know. I really don't. I don't want to import that many shrimp. I'd love for all of us to get so good at breeding shrimp that we can kind of start supplying the hobby ourselves versus importing so much. Of course, they have some pretty cool strains that they can get to, or their water's better for than what we have. But still, it would be really cool if we were self-sustaining more by the hobbyist.
Well, that's kind of what I like about what Flip's doing, like with his lower level of the store, making all those tanks, breeding areas, and stuff like that. It's kind of what inspired me, to do what I do here. To try to, like, I have the Cutaglon shrimp, and those are on the list of they can't even be imported, farmed anymore. They're like on the extinction list, So I know Joe from Joe's Shrimp Shack has some. I think Grant Eater's got some, and a couple other people. But I've had mine for 3 years, more than 3 years. I just keep them in the same tank and just raise them up and stuff. But yeah, I wonder if that would be if that would do it, if that would be a good medicine for them.
I don't see why it wouldn't. I don't see why it wouldn't help.
Yeah.
Just because of I think certain acidity levels in the water and the alkaline, all of that, whether it just might create a better situation, just like it does for the fish by raising temperatures and treating them with salt. Sometimes simple salt, brackish water. So there's got to be something to it. And that's where it's kind of, I don't think I have enough cheap shrimp, to try. And I don't have any that have Allobiopsidae. So it makes it hard. But yeah, I wouldn't mind putting a bug in somebody's ear like Joe or Rob and saying, hey, what do you think about trying it out? Maybe we'll do a little project together and test it out, test the theory out. Or when you get a sick one, send it to me and I'll try it out.
Right. S asked, are the exporters big companies or just individual breeders who list shrimp for sale? What I'm explaining to, and I think Robbie might have said this on our last live stream, was a lot of the breeders are just they're their own people, kind of like you and Jason are. You have your business, like Flip or whatever, and you breed thousands of shrimp. But let's use like Grant, because he's got all those tubs outside. Well, it's just that they breed however much, and let's say their grade is really good. Well, then they say, well, hey, because they say a lot of people over there don't have connections to sell these shrimp. So then they say, well, okay, well, if you give us this quality, this amount, we'll start to buy your shrimp. And that's how it works like that. But then you got Vin and, stuff like that are larger. Vin's not like a big box store. You know what I'm saying? He's just a guy who is good at what he does, and everyone wants his products. So
beautiful shrimp.
Yeah, they're not. It's the way it's explained to me is they're not big companies. They're people like Jadrin and Papa Shrimp and Flip, but they breed shrimp, and then they're the ones that sell it and export them out. So that's the way it's explained to me. They're not big companies like any of these pet stores, Petco and stuff like that. There's not like Shrimp Co. and they do stuff like that. It's but you got to figure we're like 10 years behind them, the way it's explained to me, because they started the hobby so long ago because the animals actually live there. They come from there. So they've had shrimp way before we even knew that they existed. So that's why when we get certain shrimp from there, we're like, oh my God, these are super cool. And they're over there going, these are boring. Send them to the US.
Right. We get their culls. That's what
right.
It's crazy that we look at the shrimp and, oh, they're so beautiful. And they're going, those are all our culls.
Yeah.
That's how much quality that they have. But they also aren't they the ones on that side of the world? Aren't they the ones that kind of invented the whole process when starting to crossbreed and get all the different variants and the different species that we now have all these different, but they've been crossbreeding them for so long over there.
Oh, yeah.
Now they've gotten it down to an art to where they're able to do this and mass breed them and export them to us.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch the videos on Vin, he explains how he started out, how he killed them all, did this.
Yeah.
The guy's just he's the mad scientist on it. But if you can watch those videos where they walk down those little itty bitty side streets and all those people are selling fish, arowanas, this, that, and the other, thousands of fish just being sold on the street. And we got to go to pet stores and they're out there everywhere.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
They go to the fish market and it's out all aquariums and we're going to the flea market and it's just sunglasses and old clothes.
Right.
And concert t-shirts.
Concert t-shirts. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. What we sit here in awe about, they're just, to
Thanks,
see
Lazarus.
Their tanks on TV and everything. I mean, they're like altars and big monuments of just these beautiful things. You're like, wow, and I got a 10-gallon with some of your blue bolts in it. It's crazy. I mean, what was it? Luke Hop, he's traveled. I don't know how many videos I watched with him, his live stuff, and he goes all Jerusalem, all over the place, and their tanks are just crazy. And it's like, wow, are we really that far behind? And it's.
Yes, I think so. I mean, when you look at it, especially, it's kind of like computer technology, I would assume, and stuff, that we're creating, inventing, and sharing with the world. They're in the aquarium hobby. They're light years ahead of us and sharing it with us. And, I think Corey has a really good business model as far as going to that part of the world where they're farther along than we are, like with Zis Aqua, and helping them develop products that we want, tailored to specifications maybe that he prefers and stuff, and they make it, and it's so popular over there, but it's also very useful over here. We're just behind the times. I don't think it's all just that it's cheaper labor on that side of the world. I just think that they're into the hobby a lot deeper for whatever reasons than we are. Their love for fish is really huge on that side of the world.
Yeah, for sure. What is it? You see some of them places, they got the cement ponds with the koi in it. People just sit out like in parks and look at it. I mean, it's a Zen feeling that they have, and over here, you sit down, the only thing you see in front of you is a dead body and an old Burger King cup laying on the sidewalk. I'm saying there's, it's a different walk of life compared to that. So yeah, the stuff that they do, I mean, it's just,
they're more connected to nature, I think,
yes,
and that's a lot.
Yes. But the thing is, everyone here that is in the hobby, I think is, if you picked all of us up that's in the hobby and put us over there, I think we'd be all super happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we'd just be like kids in the candy store going, woohoo!
Right. Hey, a big field trip. We all get to go to, China and go pick out special fish or shrimps or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess with all of the shipping charges and importing stuff in. I'm just going to go live there.
Right. For sure. Yeah. And I'll just mail it all to you. You guys can call me for this stuff.
That would be so cool. But, I just love the hobby. I love everything about it. Aquariums, I'd have to say I believe they saved my life because, I could have given up a long time ago on things and just said, it's too much. I can't handle it. Screw this. I'm going to go back and get a regular job and put my tie on and cut my hair. But nah, the dreamer still survives. And I'm, what the hey, man, life's too short, like I said. So I'm going to live the dream as much as possible and enjoy it.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I sit here, and go, okay, I only know of 2 other people in Michigan that actually sell shrimp. I don't know if there's more, but I know 2 people that have businesses, that have names out there that sell stuff. But, I just sit here and go, well, look, Flip can have Ohio, but it's like there's got to be more than just one shrimp. One person who sells shrimp in a large capacity,
right,
doesn't there? And I'm like, but there's a lot of people like that find me and they're like, man, we didn't even know that you existed. We didn't even know that you were here. And so, there's a lot of areas I need to touch on that to get my name out there more, to stretch out there more. And, I just have to learn those things, so
right.
I don't know if just putting little signs out, vote for your mayor. Well, now I'm going to have to put something out there, vote for Detroit Shrimp, But, I think all the time, like I'll drive down the road and like I'll be with my son or my wife and I'm like, man, that'd be a perfect little building for a shrimp store, or that'd be a perfect place for, a shrimp store, because none of the pet stores around here, nobody sells shrimp. And if they do, they're just garbage shrimp. Or you have people that bought shrimp and they bring they bring shrimp into the store so they get store credit for something. But like no store around here has an account with anyone and buy shrimp. Right. It's like I'll go in there like, oh, hey, I need some shrimp. Okay, but my buddy, he buys tons of them off me. I don't really deal with any other stores because, I don't want him to lose business when he set up a whole area for my shrimp. I want everybody to go there, Right. So, when it comes to that, I think, all the time, it's like, do I do it on my own or maybe do I ask Rob for a little help, and it's like, I don't know. So it's, and then I see you guys doing your thing and I'm like, see, it can be done. It can be done.
Well, and that's one of those things that I just knew a couple of years ago when I started on this journey that I was going to do this. I knew, and it became kind of like maybe a little bit obsessive, a bit of an obsession with me, but things have fallen into place in such a way that it's a reality. And now I just got to figure out how I want to approach it, because I'd love to have, yes, a shrimp rack that's like all of my homebred stuff. But when I first started doing this, I wanted to be able to have a store or an option to where I had other shrimp tubers, stuff. I wanted to have Lucas's shrimp and Flip shrimp and say, here's my Flip shrimp selection. Detroit shrimp selection, because I think it's more about, at this point for the hobby, sharing the love and trying to do everything we can to keep the money within the family as much as we can so that we can grow and give all of the shrimp keepers and lovers out there supplied with various options. Right. I want to be able to say, hey, man, I don't have any of those, but call Brian and he'll hook you up.
Right.
Because I think that's the best thing for it. And then the information too, as much as we share it, like I said, does me no good to keep all the information to myself. Doesn't even do me any good. So share everything, even if it's just something little, it might help somebody. So
Right. That's why I like picking your brain. So let me ask you this: when you talk about all this stuff that you wanted before, do you have a website of your own that you sell like Papa Shrimp stuff?
no, I do not. I used to, but then everything happened, so I kind of put that away. And right now it's all through Jadron Aquatics. And I kind of am thinking that's probably how I want to keep it as much as possible. Now I may do some stuff through Aquabid, or different avenues myself, but it just seems so much more efficient to do it through the store and just be able to put on there, these were homebred by Papa Shrimp. If people know me from the watching YouTube, then they'll know. And if not, then they'll get to know me, I hope.
But can anybody buy like your shirt? You always wear those like those remind me of like my dad used to wear shirts to Fords, but they're like mechanic shirt.
Yeah.
Button up mechanic shirts. I mean,
yeah.
Can people buy those? Can they go anywhere
Not
and get
yet.
a shirt?
I'm trying to get a deal. I got this one printed up by Jeff Wilson from 712 Apparel. He also has Texas Fish Room channel, and he runs a print and embroidery, silkscreen and embroidery shop. So he did these for me, and I am trying to get up enough money so that I could buy a few and start selling them on the website. Because, either way, it's whether it says Papa Shrimp or Jadron Aquatics, I think we're a team. So it's just that our business happened to be called Jadron Aquatics, and
that's what I'm trying to get at. So once you have your guy or gal that's going to do your embroidery, they'll just be able to go to Jadron Aquatics or whatever name is chosen, and get a Papa Shrimp or a Jadron. I think it's cool to keep the separation like that. I mean, and then just maybe like Papa Shrimp, and then if you guys do choose to change the name, put that out along the back.
Right.
But they could say, well, not to be mean, but I'm down to earth more with Papa Shrimp, or I relate more with Jason, but
right.
They support their business, So Supreme Aquaria says, so there's no way to find your shrimp online?
Not yet. I'm working on it. As actually, I'm going to be filling up our shrimp tanks here shortly. We have 6 Karadina tanks at our shop that we'll be putting online. So I got to do all the stuff, take pictures, put in all the information, get that all updated on the website. But that will happen shortly, most likely closer to the holidays, because right now, everything that I have, I'm saving for the show down in Austin and Aquashella. And I may even enter some of my blue shrimp into my blue steels. I may enter them in the shrimp contest because there's some really gorgeous shrimp.
Ooh, that'd be nice if they won't. Dang. That'd be real nice. I see it's getting dark there. Your room's starting to dim down some. So, I mean, I don't want to keep you too long. I don't know if you have like stuff to do today.
Well, when you called me, I was in the midst of overfilling one of my aquariums.
Yeah, I got lucky and just said something that made him go and shut his water off, or he would have had an accident there. Swelling all those water or all those wood walls and stuff.
It's a good thing I got waterproof padding on the bottom.
Yes.
Catch the water.
But yeah, I just figured, we could maybe just call it a day. We don't want to burn up all the info, because I don't know. I didn't go off any questions today. It's I kind of just wanted to pick at you and get some info maybe that people have never heard before, asking the same questions over and over.
Well, how about this? I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
I don't know.
In dealing with your Karadina shrimp, the biggest issue that everybody and the question that all beginners go through is what type of substrate is best for my Karadina shrimp. The active substrates lower my pH, so it's like magic, right? I put this active substrate product such and such, and I put it in my tank, and my pH is automatically lowered, and my shrimp will survive. Is that the case?
Well, no. I mean, you can't.
And if so, which one do you use?
Well, you can't just use regular water. I mean, you got to use RO water, which takes out everything that's in the water. So when you put it into the tank, the substrate doesn't have to fight. Like if you put tap water in there, it'll have a pH. So which so you put RO in there, remineralize, just put GH because KH is pH. So when you put GH plus remineralize or whatever brand you use, I use a liquid. I use a commercial liquid instead of the salty bee stuff, and only because I was just tired of stirring it up anymore. So that's why I use the liquid, because I can just put the pump in there, squirt it in, and see, I have a measurement. With the powder, I really don't have a measurement.
You got to wait 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah, but you can guess, because it's got the scooper. But, if I look in my bucket and go, oh, boy, is there, all right, let me put this in. You put it in, you're short. Now, let's say you want to bring it up 3 TDS. Well, how much powder is that? I don't know. But with the liquid, I just use my syringe. And I could pull out 1 milliliter, shoot it in 25 gallons of water, and then that'll let me know exactly how much it jumped. So if it jumps like 1 TDS, well, then I could put 2 milliliters in there, and it'll jump at 2 more, so it's easier that way. But so you have to use RO water and then remineralize it. So the substrate doesn't have to fight the KH that you put in it from tap water. Plus, with Karadina, you don't want to put in tap water because it, tap water could have something in it from your water treatment center that could actually kill the shrimp. So now, when it comes to substrate, I tell you, I was a Flip Aquatics follower for a long time, and not for nothing, but before Brightwell came around, Rob was a big supporter of Fluval Stratum. So I've been watching Rob for a long time. So I use Fluval Stratum. That guy swore up and down that Fluval Stratum was the cat's meow. So, I mean, you even worked there. So I use Fluval Stratum. I mean, he used to do it. I mean, I'm not saying Brightwell's not better. I'm not saying that. But I've been running Fluval Stratum for 2 years, and my pH is 6.2 right in there. Now, the other brand I use is, yes, I do.
No, I'm not Mississippi Hippie. Make me blush.
This is the other brand I use, is Aquasolum Black Humate by Aquavitro.
Right.
Now it's got humate in it already, like Indian almond leaves. So I use that. I only use that and Fluval Stratum.
Okay.
And I don't have any pH issues. I never have. I've never had a tank crash because of pH. Like I said, I run this stuff ragged. But I don't put anything but RO water in it. I make sure nothing else goes in there. I'm always checking my RO water to make sure that the TDS doesn't go up a certain number. Like our water, one of the pipes broke or something last week, and I was running RO water, but then I heard the little hose tapping, and I went over because I have one of those pumps, one of the big pumps that separates the pressure, balances it out. And I was like, what the heck? So I went upstairs and I turned the water on. It was barely coming out. So that let me know a hose busted somewhere within my city. So I went down, shut everything off. And then it came back on probably about 2 hours later, and I went down, turned everything back on, and I tested the water coming out my RO, and it was coming out 5 TDS when usually it comes out 1. So just that shut off of the pipes blew it up to 5. So I went to the store, bought new ones, took them out, put them in there. Now you can go up a certain number. You know, it's probably, I think they say around 10 before you change them out. But I knew that it blew something in there, so I didn't want to take a chance. But other than that, it's just RO, remineralize to what your shrimp like. And like I said, I'm not one to say, I mean, I've never used ADA, Amazonia. I've never used Brightwell. If Rob wants to send me some, hey, I'll use it. But I just went off of what, when I got into the hobby, what Rob said he used, and I've had extreme luck with it. I mean, just my shrimp are as happy as they could be, and my pH is way down there. You know, it really is. So
that's interesting because when I go on the Facebook forums or groups and all this stuff, Fluval gets such a bad rap with the stratum.
I know, right?
They get such a bad rap, and it's always made me kind of wonder, well, what am I doing wrong then? Because I have pretty good luck with it, and my plants thrive in the Fluval stratum. So,
and their prices are incredible.
Yeah, so that's what I've always thought. But I've gotten to the point now to where, I've tried other stuff and this and that. But my fallback is that I at least put Fluval stratum in there. I may put another one on top, or I may use Fluval stratum all the way. But now I've gotten into where I'm putting sand on top, a little small cap of sand on top, because it seems like the shrimp love playing around in the sand and digging around through that. And it's really, to me, I can see the colors better. So that's another reason, change the color of the sand so I can see better. But I want to have that foundation of the stratum. To me, it always forms a little bit of algae on it, which is good because that's all the nutrients for the plants. So that means when I see that in my tank, it just means I don't have enough plants in there.
Right. Dan Slee did that. I saw that for the first time. He put, I think, a black sand over his substrate. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. What is that? And what he actually did is push the substrate way back and had in the front sand. And I said, why you got it like that? He's like, because if I go in there to vac or something, I'll just suck up some sand. I won't suck that up. Now, see, I gravel vac my substrate.
Right.
I don't know if anyone else does, but look, I feed in front. So I have a vacuum, just like the big one, but it's a skinny one. It's a long tube, and I bought it. Well, when I gravel vac with that, it's very slow, and it does, because the hose is way smaller, and it doesn't suck it up really fast, and I don't lose the substrate. And I just go through and touch it. It sucks all that stuff up out of there, because everyone says, don't mess with
Don't touch the substrate.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, then it's in there too.
Right.
So if you gravel vac, you can get all that. Now, I only do the front 3-4 inches. Everything else, I don't touch the rest of the tank. I just do the front where all that food goes down there and goes in there and rots. And that's all I do is I suck the front of it up, and I leave it alone and put it back. And the shrimp seem to really, really like it because I'm getting rid of all that dead, decaying crap, So,
and I think that's why they say everybody likes to use the dish. But to me, it's kind of like, you put the dish in there and you put the food, and then the shrimp comes along, takes it, and moves it over somewhere else.
Yeah, the dish is more for looks. That's like,
but I understand because I notice those. I do the same thing. I feed in the front of my tank, and you'll start to see a black line form underneath the substrate. And I've always wondered about that. I'm like sitting there going, I don't like the way that looks, but maybe it's just me. Yeah. And then I saw Mark's shrimp tank where he did a video where he did that exact thing, where he was talking about, this is where I feed the shrimp. This is where the food decays and it gets caught in that substrate, and I take it out. And he went in there and, gravel vacked it and cleaned it all up, just that one spot.
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, good to go. Added more water and the shrimp were happy. And I was like, huh. So, again, I learned that by mistake. Maybe you did too, but I was like, I didn't know any better. So I'm in there digging around my substrate and cleaning it up, trying to keep it clean. Yeah. And then I find out, don't mess with the substrate. And I was like, oh, I've been doing it wrong all this time.
Right. If you've now, fish tanks are one thing, but I'm sure you have, but take down a shrimp tank. Take everything out of a shrimp tank, take the shrimp out, go down to that substrate, stir that sucker up. Oh my God, does it stink?
Yes.
It's death. So that if you vacuum that out, all that death is coming out, and it makes the tank healthier for the shrimp because you're taking out that front end where it decays, Now look, the rest of it, they poop in and all that. Maybe they do take food back there and snails and everything, but that stuff breaks down and that's what helps plants grow and stuff like that. But when I'm putting food up here and it goes down there, and hey, look, I go to bed. If that stuff doesn't get eaten, it rots down there. It rots down there. I don't know. I don't sit here and go, okay, guys, it's
been 63 minutes. I gotta
hurry up. If you don't finish, I'm taking it. I don't do that. I go away. That's just, because that's another thing. I don't like to stay on a set schedule when I feed. I don't get up at 6 a.m. and go up, time to feed. 6 o'clock at night, time to feed. When I get up and I'm ready, they get fed when I'm done with my coffee or while I'm having my coffee. I don't want them used to, because in the wild, they don't eat, at a certain time. They scavenge and then all of a sudden they find something that they want. So I'm what they find something when they want. They scavenge and then when I feed them, they're like, oh, look, we found something, Right. So I think it's better that way, just like fish. Who said it? God, who was it that said it? They said hungry fish. It was one of that. I don't want to say because I don't know exact. I can't remember exact, but they said a hungry fish is father fish. A hungry fish.
I was about to say father fish. Yep.
A hungry fish is always a healthy fish. It's when they don't eat. So we try to feed them every day, but we don't do a special time.
I kind of stick to a lot of what Father Fish says when it comes to that. And I pay attention. If they're pooping, they're eating. So why do I need to feed them?
Right. He's gangster. I mean, he's an old school cat that knows his stuff, and it's but that's another guy. He's been around. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter your age, but if you go here, look, you worked at Flip, you did this, you lived here, you did this. Now you work you have a partner. You have a lot of information that a lot of people, it's kind of like someone going to Spain. And someone that's never been there and just sees pictures and books. I can ask you what their food's like, what it looks like, what it smells like. I'll never know. So that, asking you about shrimp and even fish, water parameters, anything, there's a lot of stuff that you could have picked up over the years when you were just a little kid that some guy our age right now told you that you didn't know about.
Right. Jason freaks out sometimes. He'll ask me, like, did you feed the fish today? And I'll be like, nope. And I'll walk out the door. And he's like, I could see it on his face, like, oh no. And I've gotten to the point where I was like, no, I didn't feed them today because they all look good or they don't look like they're doing well. So feeding them is just going to cause more problems anyways. There's a bunch of decaying food on the bottom of the tank. So I didn't really want to add more, whatever. So I have to explain it a little bit and remind them that, I kind of listen to Father Fish sometimes. And when we're having problems with the fish, the first thing I do is stop feeding them,
Right.
stop poisoning my tank. And the last thing I want to do is add a bunch of chemicals and poison the water. You know, there's a lot better ways to do it. Add plants, you know, just adding plants. Water Sprite. I love Water Sprite. It pulls so much crap out of the water in the water column that it's, to me, it's like a little magical plant of goodness. You know, it is. You put it in your tank, you throw it on the top, you just let it float. And if you have an algae bloom on the bottom, like you get with fluval stratum, it'll take that and eat it away naturally. You don't have to do anything or change anything.
I do the pearlweed. I got that off of Lucas Brett's. It's really cool. Little pieces fall down into the wood and they start growing. I mean, it's cool, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, you said earlier shellfish. You had shellies before?
Yes.
Okay.
Neolamprologus catapunctatus. Those are my favorites.
Okay. Did you plant the tank?
Yes.
So you're go against now it's not go against, but like I want to plant it. I saw like King of DIY, he's got plants in his, you know, all sorts of stuff. But there's a lot of people I watch their streams and they don't have plants. Is there anything bad that could come from having plants in there? I mean,
well, they're gonna move your sand around. They're gonna make their pits. They're gonna, you know, they like to move the sand around. But if the plant's rooted right, and if you have a really deep substrate, which I recommend just because I follow Father Fish and I believe in the deep substrate, especially for plants, because I think that it allows the roots to grow. So yeah, if the fish moves and digs a little pit and it's about 3/4 of an inch deep and you feel all comfortable in there, it's not going to affect the plant. Whereas if you only have an inch or an inch and a half of substrate and you have a plant in there and the cichlid goes and, you know, makes his little pit, yeah, the plant's probably going to float up and then start dying off and then get eaten up by whatever. And you're not going to have good luck. But I've had luck with plants in my cichlid tanks, and I don't know if it's because I know what I'm doing or if I'm just lucky. So I'll go to the side of I'm very lucky at knowing what to do.
Yeah, it's I want to make them a big part of the future here because I do like small fish, but like I said the other day, it's I don't know. It's most small fish are I don't know. I just want to be different. I like to be different. I like to have different stuff. And I know people have shellies, but it's not that big of a deal. Like I go to the stores over here, no one has shellies. No one, never even heard of them. I mean, I didn't know of anything till, you know, I got on YouTube. Yeah. Pumpkin King sent me the multis back here, and then I got these from the store. But I was like, these are like some of the most beautiful fish I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know, I'm gonna have to bring these into the mix here too. So
I got the catapunks because in the store I noticed that they had blue eyes. They have, you know, that cream body with the yellow fin. Maybe they're called redfin, but it's yellow. And but the eye being super blue, I was like, oh, that's such a pretty fish. Right. And you know, I never wanted cichlids, but I bought them because I thought they were beautiful. And the next thing you know, they started breeding, and I learned all kinds of things about them. And the ones that we have on our website are started from the ones I started breeding a couple of years ago. So
nice.
Yeah, Jason rescued them. I had them in a 40 breeder. I had like 60 of them, and he rescued them from my house and then took them there. And now we still have tanks full of them. So
sweet.
I love those fish. And that's what also got me into the German rams. You know, I'm really into the smaller cichlids. I Maybe it's because of Ohio Fish Rescue and moving those Bellagio tanks, but I think I'm traumatized and I really don't want a big giant aquarium just because I don't want to move it.
Right.
But I love the Shelleys. I love the Multis too, and German Rams because of their size and their personality. Those fish, they have a certain personality, and the Cottapunks, I really like the way they glide through the water. They don't really swim. They just glide, and it's so pretty to watch, and especially when they start changing and forming the dark stripes that they get when they're breeding.
Science gal, Mississippi Hippie says she might have to try to make it to the next Aquashella after all.
Yeah, she's making me blush.
Dang.
Hi, Carrie.
Somebody hollering at Papa Shrimp. What's up? But
just come to Aquashella anyways.
Yeah. Hey, I wish I could go. Gosh, it's like I said, it was brought up to me. Robbie brought it up to me at Blue Crown. Said, hey, one of my guys wants to go, or somebody wants to go, and they want to set up a thing, but they said they don't want to set up a booth by themselves. They'd want somebody there to help. I was like, well, if you're asking me, sure, I'll go. I'll sell your shrimp and everything. I get to see everybody. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to, show face again and help out. Yeah, and then that was like the last. Then I brought it up to him again. Then it wasn't talked about no more. And then, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I ain't going. So it was like, trying to give a horse an apple, and then you pull it back and it's like, wait, I'm not walking no more until I get this apple, but it's to drive. I can't drive there. It's just too far away.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I'd have to fly, and then, I can't afford, the motel or hotel and all that stuff. So it's just like, I'll wait till the next Chicago one. But I wanted to go to the Keystone Clash. Holy crap. When I looked that up, dude, that's way over on the right side of Pennsylvania. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Where I grew up, if I drive to where I grew up over by Punxsutawney in Roundsville area, DuBois, that's like 8 hours, 7.5, 8 hours. And you're talking way over on the east side. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to drive 12 hours to go. Oh, my Lord. But unless I have the address wrong, and I don't know where it is exactly, but when I punch it up, that's where it shows me it's at.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm not making that one either.
Well, I'm still trying to decide because we have a vendor's booth for Aquashella, this one coming up. But I'm trying to decide, do I want to get a room in Dallas so that way I'm not driving back and forth? Because, like I said, it's an hour for me to get from here to the shop. And that's in south side of Dallas-Fort Worth. So it's probably only about 30 to 45 minutes to where the Aquashella is going to be.
So but I'm just 2 hours from home.
So I just don't know if I want to go, back and forth or not,
Well, I when we were first going, I was going with Pumpkin King, and he was hooking it up. He was paying for the hotel. We were staying there, so I called, reserved the room, bought the tickets. I was like, sweet. And then, like, what was it, 2 days, night and a half before we were going, he sends me a text, and it's the piece of paper from the hospital saying he's positive with COVID.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, man, now what? He's like, look, just take the money that I spent on the hotel and use it for gas and all your travel expenses and stuff, and to pay for food and stuff. So that's when I drove. It was like 4 hours, 40 minutes to Chicago. I stayed there like 7 hours, and I drove all the way back home on the same day.
Right.
It was super cool. But we had the room set because I thought, wow, it'd be cool. Because look, at night, Rob likes if you're on that list, if you're on the YouTubers list, I got in there kind of late. I let him know late that I was going, but I still had my pass and everything. He had all my stuff for me, but they take you out to dinner because Fritz pays for it. I guess it's this big immaculate, like you get treated like a millionaire. Then they take everybody to all these places. They do all this stuff. So if you stay, you'd be able to participate in all that, and then you wouldn't have to worry about driving all the way home super tired. And I ask them, but I believe if the rooms aren't free, they're cheaper. Because I know when I called, they said, "Oh, so you're gonna be there at the show?" I said, "Well, I'm a YouTube creator." So they said, "Oh, well, you talk to this person because you get a discount."
Right.
So the rooms are even cheaper. But if you call Rob, will hook you up. You know how it goes. But Rob runs all that. So a lot of people don't know.
Well, I think Carrie's involved in it too.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's a few, but.
And Joe, I believe, also.
Who? Shrimp Chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. All I know, but I know that Rob's like the tip of the spear.
Yeah, because he actually called Jason yesterday, I believe, to ask him about Aquashella and what was going on, what we were wanting as far as the event tickets and after stuff. So, I know Rob and Jason talked, but I asked Jason, I was like, well, what about me? Yeah, okay. I love Jadron Aquatics and everything, and I'm wearing the flag or sporting the flag, and I'll be waving proudly. But what about me?
Right. Oh yeah.
So
that's the. See, I don't know the jargon. I don't know how it goes. Like I said, when I showed up, Rob's like, "Do you got your pass?" I was literally the minute I walked up to the booth, he's like, "Hey, you got your pass?" I was like, "What pass?" He's like, "Creator's pass." I was like, "Nope." He's like, "Oh, I got it right here." I was like, "Well, you have it. I don't have it." And he's like, "Did you buy tickets?" I was like, "Yeah." Because when you buy tickets and everything, it's Rob knows.
Right.
Rob knows everything. So it's like, well, if you seen I bought tickets, why did I pay? So I was like, nope. So I got my pass and everything, but I didn't stay, and but it all comes in a big package. So
yeah, and that's one of those things. I'm just kind of like, I will enjoy wearing my vendor badge, but I still want my creator badge so that I feel like I'm part of the Fish Tube group.
Right. That's
not
why
just
if you
a vendor.
That picture that we took, everyone has the baby blue with their badge, So like me, like most of them, it was, I don't know if they had a sticker on it or something. I had to handwrite mine. I was the the black cat of the family, but
right.
But still, I got one. But yeah, it's just like I said, I didn't know how to go about it, so I didn't know. And then I heard the word creator, YouTube creator type deal, and discounts and this and that. And I'm like, well, I hope I'm cool enough to get something like this, and maybe the next time I'll be cool enough to get it. But to get a phone call from Rob would be super cool. But yeah, no, it's I'm sure later down the road when things start to get better with everyone, be able to afford it and stuff like that. But
yeah, I mean, I got lucky when I went to Chicago because the Friday night I'm sitting there in the hotel where everybody, and I see Rachel O'Leary, I see Joey King of DIY, and I see a table of a bunch of people partying that I don't know who they are, but I saw Stephen Conroe. And me and him had been emailing him.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I like what you did on the video for Lucas to move the rocks on the hood of the car with the four-wheeler. I was like, that was a pretty smart idea. And he was like, oh, hey, Papa Shrimp. And then next day he was like, come hang out with us. And then they kind of let me, like I said, I felt like the little kid getting to hang out at the cool kids table, because I was nobody. I had 3 subscribers and 2 of them were my children. So, So
Hey, I was the same way. I mean,
it
same
was
thing.
really cool that they kind of took me under their wing and were like, come eat with us. We're all eating dinner at the restaurant. They reserved a whole room for us. And yeah, I mean, it was everybody that was everybody except for Jason and the other Jason and John and Lisa and all of them, the bigs. They were at an Airbnb. So they were totally separate from us at the hotel, you know?
Well,
So
at least you're invited to eat. I was told that, hey, look, you didn't make the list. So I ain't book it. Hey, if you show, you might have to pay for your. I was like, yeah, I won't be there. Don't no. But that's what I'm saying. I didn't know how to sign up for it, so I didn't know. But when I showed up, I was a nobody. I was just standing there, and all of a sudden, I turned around and see Chattanooga Ed's pink chin. I walked up behind him, and I was like, hey, I know you. What are you doing? He turned around, looked at me. He's like, what? And him and Pectec. And
right.
So I didn't know Pectec. I like his stuff. And he turned around and, and they just we were talking. And then I needed to buy some shirts, Aquashella shirts. And so Ed bought some. And then we walked over to the YouTubers area, fish tuber booth or whatever, and then I kind of just started meeting everybody. Then they got everybody to sign my shirt, and so that's when I met just everybody. Yeah, I just met everybody, and they all signed my shirts. And the thing is like some people I didn't even shake their hands. I was just I'm in awe, going like, hey, will you sign the shirt? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I just, and I'm like, oh, man, I hope they didn't think I was a jerk, but my head was just going too fast and I didn't think about it, So it was like, it is what it is, but I had a lot of fun. And like meeting LRB, I'd said hi to his wife, but I don't even know if I shook her hand. I'm just like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I was just in awe of meeting. Then Flip meet Rob, and I'd say hi to his wife, and I just talked, but I got to meet Rob's mom. She's a sweetheart. She was running the booth there with everything, and Rob signed my little TDS pen for me. Hey, he didn't even charge me. That was super cool. I'm serious. I said, man, I want one of these TDS pens. He's like, it was at the end of the show when people were getting ready to leave. I was like, but hey, I want you to sign it. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, sign the side of it. So he signed the side of it, and I was like, how much? And he's like, oh no, just keep it. Okay. Okay. All right. See you guys. I get a little note from the wife.
She didn't want to interrupt, huh?
No, she's trying to get her to come into the camera one day, So I got another really nice computer that she can go on, but maybe one day, do a veteran special or something and have her on. But I don't know, they must be going up for wrestling figures. Luke's really into the WWE wrestling dudes, and so what's this science gal? Oh, she was one I met. Her and her husband. They're
awesome.
I mean, beyond awesome. I mean, just these people are just crazy cool. It's like literally, it's like I don't know. It's kind of like the world picked everyone out, or someone in space picked all these people out they get along with, and they put them in the same room, and they just said, here, walk into this area. And now there's all these people that you get along with, and you're like, wait a minute, where have you guys been all these years? I don't know you. And it's just everyone was so cool. What is this? Let me know. I could put you on the list. I'm on the committee. We have weekly meetings, so I can talk to them. There's a link to book the hotel for event discount, and last day to book is this week. There you go. See? Papa Shrimpski. But you guys are already talked to by the Flipster. So,
well, Jason talked to Rob. I didn't. Jason gave me all the information secondhand, and that's why I was kind of like, well, yeah. What about me? Hello.
He didn't like me when I worked for him. That's it. We're twisting him up. Hey, I got pictures. Rob made me, because I'm tall. I'm 6'8", and Rob's not a little guy, but Rob's a little buff. But I used to power lift and stuff. But he's when I say, "Hey, will you take a picture with me?" He's like, "Yeah." So we take a picture. And he's like, "Hey, will you sit down for some pictures?" I said, "What?" He's like, "Will you sit in the chair?" And then he got all flexed up, and he did. I got the pictures on my phone, and I'm all looking up at him like a little kid, and it was funny. We had a good time, but everybody there was, it was, like Science Gal says, exactly. She was so overwhelmed and nervous. It was just like that. But like I met SC Aquatics, but that Brett Raymer was there from Tank.
Right. I wish I would have gotten to meet him and chat with him.
That dude, he was another one. It's like I don't know. I mean, the guy lives in Vegas and he had a business. So he has money. Okay. He's like a flip, but when you meet these people, they don't act like I'm better than you. How much money do we have? I sell tons of this, or I was on TV making fish tanks, or this or that, or whatever. I mean, that guy, you go to talk to him just like anybody else. Hey, how you doing? He doesn't care that his girlfriend's standing next to him. He doesn't care that there's 10 other people staring at him, wanting to meet him. When you're talking to him, that's all that matters. He doesn't say hi to other people. He doesn't do this. He just pays attention to you. So if anybody ever meets a guy, the guy's super, super cool. Surprising,
Yeah. I've had a blast meeting people. And like Carrie says, I was overwhelmed meeting all the people that I was watching on YouTube. The only thing I think that really helped me or saved me from, there's a little fanboy, watch out for that guy. Why is he staring at us? I think the only reason I avoided that was because in my previous life as a musician, I've run across, hung out with, and shared the stage with celebrities, famous people, especially around here. It was very common to be hanging out or playing a show, and then Pantera and Jerry Cantrell and Rob Zombie are there, and then they're at the after party where we all go and hang out, and it's like, wow, I'm hanging out with the big boys. We've made it.
I know you was gonna say Pantera. Jeez, I went and seen them here at Harpo's. I don't know how many times. Our buddy jumped off. Our buddy ran up there to get drumsticks, to take drumsticks, and next thing you know, he stage dives and he's missing both front teeth. So he lost both front teeth for a set of drumsticks at Pantera.
But because of that experience in my life, it wasn't as overwhelming, or I didn't feel like such a fanboy, because I'm sitting there looking at everybody almost younger than me by several years, and seeing people walk up to them. Oh my God, can I have your autograph? And I'm kind of laughing. I was like, yeah, I remember when we were in the band, people walking up to us asking for autographs.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I really felt comfortable because nobody had attitude. They don't have the rock star egos. Well, most of them don't. There are a few that have that ego and think I'm somebody because I have 100,000 plus subscribers,
Right.
Okay, well, I'm a nobody because I only have 400, or at the time 3. Yes, I am. In the YouTube world, yes, I am a nobody. But I didn't care. And what you said earlier, that I'm so well known, it baffles me, because I'm probably the biggest small channel that I know of, because people recognize Papa Shrimp or the name, or they've heard it or seen it. But more often than not, I get the Big Rich reaction. Oh, you're Papa Shrimp. Yeah, me, this guy.
Right.
So it's kind of fun that I've been able to at least come up with a name that's catchy enough for people to remember me. Eventually, the subs and everything.
If it wasn't you got to give yourself the credit, though. If it wasn't you, people wouldn't give a shit about your name.
Really? You think?
Oh yeah. What if you were a jerk? Believe me, it would stick. People would be like, "Yeah, that guy's an idiot." But it's you as the person. Serious. I mean, you being the person fits the name. I mean, pop apart, you're not old. So, maybe people look at you and go, he's younger than what I thought. But
I'm 52.
I'm 49. I mean, it's.
I'm over the hill, man. Look, I got a scar to prove it.
Whatever. I thought you were showing me some implants or something. I was like, oh, wait a minute. But the thing is it's the person. They hear Papa Shrimp. They meet this really nice person. They see this person on YouTube. And I think that's what it is. Because a name is a lot. But if someone on the other end of the name is not, it isn't good in the public eye, I don't really think the name matters. I mean, there's people out there that have a name that some people don't like, and because of maybe something they say or how they act or what they do, that persona, the name maybe at one time was good, but now it's not anymore. So that's what I'm saying. You as a person, you have to give yourself credit, just yourself, and being who you are. I mean, look at Flip Aquatics. It doesn't have nothing to do with Rob. And when you see Rob, you're like, why is your name Flip? Do you do acrobat tricks or do you roll around or something? But you see it's got LRB. You see him, you're like, everything like fits. They got these names that suck it in because it's who they are.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, because I think it's all about how genuine you are. And when you meet somebody in person, like all of the people that I have met, and I see how genuine they are and humble, and they're just like, I got a channel and I'm trying, to share information because I love it. And so it's really cool because you're around other people that love what they do too. And we all get to nerd out and talk. It's just some of us are better at putting videos together or have done it longer or have a bigger audience or whatever. But, I like that. I appreciate you saying that because it makes me feel better that at least I don't come off on camera differently than I would in person.
Well, yeah, no, it's ever since I met you, ever since the first day you ever contacted me, ever since I've seen all the videos you put out, you're just the same person. You're genuine. And that's what I like. It's kind of like think of this. We're all truck drivers and we all have a CB handle. And that's I mean, look, Science Gal, if you met her, she's this big around and she's itty bitty. You would think that she would have all these beakers and mixing all this stuff up. It's everyone that has a handle and it's who they, perceive themselves to be within the hobby. And that's the cool part about it. Like Mississippi Hippie, you would think it'd be somebody with really long hair, playing a banjo. You know what I'm saying? It's just
wearing a Flower Child shirt.
There you go. But it's these names that give up. See, she's damn boy, 50. Woo! But it's just there's at times that I think a change in my name. I mean, it's I think I want to add to it, but I don't think I want to change it. But it's like, I live in Detroit, but I'm from Motown because of the cars, the music and everything. And it's I already make shirts that say Detroit Shrimp and Aquatics, but I was gonna, thinking if I put Detroit Motown Shrimp and Aquatics or something, but it's a name, it's a name. But it's the person on the other side of that name that does it all. If you're not an eccentric, personal human being that people like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your name's Nike. It just doesn't. It's all, you're the one who sells the product. Your face is on the sticker. It's just what it is.
Well, Jason always gives me a little bit of a hard time, and he says that when I do some of my videos that I'm kind of one note and a little bit monotone. And so I've gone back and I've looked at him and I'm like, yeah, I can tell where I'm kind of just, and he was like, you need to be more like you are in person on your videos. And I don't know how to put on that extra amount of
the switch.
Yeah.
Switch.
Yeah, especially I can do it when I'm streaming, and it comes naturally streaming. I don't know why, but when I'm doing a video, I think maybe I'm like self-critiquing myself as I'm doing it. So I'm thinking about everything I have to say and make sure that I don't have to edit a ton of times. And so that way, there's my point. So I think I lose some of that in trying to structure it better instead of just going with it and let's just see what happens. And I got to get more into the let's just see what happens and not be so worried about trying to make the perfect videos, because I think I have a long way to go and a lot of practice to do before I can consider myself a professional video editor or producer or anything like that. And I don't really want to be. I want to be more focused on shrimp keeping and making little shrimp babies as much as I can.
Right. Well, that's why people ask, they say, well, they don't like ask me like there's something wrong, but they, huh? Your wallet? No. Check your backpack or something. Not down here. No. Why?
Because I'm going to.
Do you need money?
Yeah.
Get my wallet. Oh, go up in the cupboard up there and get money.
No, it's to buy small bread.
I know. Well, have Mama buy it. You don't need to spend your money. Spend Mama's money. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's where was I at? Sorry about that. He's getting older and he man needs his wallet. He's got a nice wallet. He saves his money, but sometimes he thinks he needs to buy his own toys. And, I understand that, but I don't want him spending his money. But don't feel right without it. Yep. It's
I don't feel right without it.
Right. Where were we at? I'm sorry.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I lost. I lost.
Me too.
When you do streams and stuff, yeah. Me, I see streams that are done all really nice and everything, and I'm like, wow, that's cool. And the beginnings are all cool, but like now everyone's stream is a countdown.
Right.
And it's like, gosh, do I want to get into that? I mean, I would like to have maybe a picture, but I don't know. And I'm like you, I'm a one take guy. So I just go live. I don't have a special day because I don't like being held down. I don't like going, oh my gosh, I got to stream at 8:00. God, I wanted to watch this TV show. I don't want to do that. Like when I say, Papa Shrimp, would you like to come on the channel? Yep. And I'm open tomorrow at 5:00. Well, guess what? That's when we're going at 5:00. If there's two people on here, it's when we're rolling. If there's 300 on here, that's when we're rolling. Because look, it's your time,
Right.
But I just feel that look, you're getting me the best of me. If I mess up, you can laugh at me. But the thing is if I have a boring stream, I don't want you to get bored. I don't want you to go, oh God, and shut it off. Some days I'm blah. I'm like plain chips. I'm just coming on here to show, hey, I'm still here. It is. Here's how I am on a bad day when I don't have a lot of content. I'm just boring. Let's just sit around and talk. Or let's, I'll get off quick. But if I knew how to do it, I'd probably do it, make them all look cool and everything. But I sit here and go, yeah, I don't have time for all that. It's like you go on my website, it doesn't even work right. It doesn't even work. People like, I keep hitting these buttons and they don't work. And I'm like, yeah, I keep paying for it and it don't work. I don't know. I'm like, whatever.
Just shoot me an email. Tell me what you want.
Send me a message at the bottom where it says comments. That's how I do it. I'm like, look, here's pictures, whatever. But, it's like, go on there, take all these pictures, all the shrimp, put them under a button. When they click Karadina, all these pictures come up. It's like too much. It's like, look, I take pictures. I haven't put pictures on there for so long. It's like, I need a plug and play. I need to take video, all the tanks, Or you just say, hey, I looked this shrimp up. Do you got it? Yes. Okay, send it to me. I mean, I could only imagine what someone pays to have a website done and they not touch it.
Right.
You know, if they don't have to touch it, what they pay someone to do it, because that stuff's a hassle. I don't, you know, it's like, do what? Hit what? I have to hit control ship what? To no. You want a house built? I'm your guy. Yeah, you want steel welded? I'm your guy. Hit these buttons on. Forget all that. I'll deal with it, you know. But yeah, it's something else. But yeah, gosh, I've been having conversations with you for what a year more now. I mean,
yeah,
not like talk, but man, you messaged me. I don't know how long ago you came on the first stream, and you know, all sorts of stuff like that. So,
well, to be honest with you, when I was transitioning from Texas to Ohio, besides Jason, I was also talking to Priscilla a lot because I'd met everybody there at Chicago. And so Priscilla is good friends with Rob. So she started trying to call him and saying, yeah, you know, you might want to take advantage of getting this guy up there. And so she helped with that too. And she had told me, she was like, well, she ordered some Nanansi fry from me. So she wanted some so she could start doing some crossbreeding. And it was right before she built Swiss Aquatics website. She was still building her racks and everything. And when she got done with all of that, she had said, well, I just ordered some, I think, blue steels from Brian at Detroit Shrimp. And she was like,
you ought to go that one.
Yeah. And so she explained everything that happened. And I was like, Detroit Shrimp, I've never seen this guy. So I started jumping on your streams when you'd have like 3 people watching, you know, and you had just started out, and it would be just, you know, the camera on your tank while you're talking in the background. Yeah. You know, and I was like, and I asked Rob, I was like, hey, have you heard of Brian from Detroit Shrimp? And he was like, no, you know, okay, well, I figured maybe you had or not. And then I just started watching, you know, I added you to my list of what I'm going to go watch, because like I said, I don't care if you're a big channel or little channel, you know, if you're sharing shrimp information that I get to nerd out on, you know, I want to be a part of it.
Right. Yeah. She's a great person. It's just a little embarrassing. You know, it had nothing to do with me, but Priscilla, there was I don't know.
It was the temperature there in Colorado, if I remember
Colorado
correctly.
is hot.
Yes.
Hot.
Yeah.
Hot. Something was going on with the post to where I don't know, it was getting caught up somewhere, and then the stuff was like sitting. Like, yes. I don't know if it was on their back dock, but I'm sending this girl like all these blue steels, and she's opening a box of dead shrimp. They're cooked. Yep. And then I said, okay, well, look, you know, I'm a 100% cover guy. I cover everything. I'm really sorry for that. You know, this woman comes on my stream. She gives me, you know, chats me some couple dollars here and there. She's an incredible person. You know, we're talking, you know, telling me about, she's this, you know, great person. I'm starting my, you know, YouTube channel and getting my business rolling. Yeah, please send me some shrimp. All right, you know, I deal with Dan Slee all the time. All right, I send Dan shrimp, dude, and it takes 2 weeks to get there. 2 weeks. And guess what? They all showed up alive. I said, Priscilla shrimp, it takes more time, but they show up all dead. Send them to her again. Show up all dead. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you guys on fire over there or something? You know, and I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And she's like, you know what? Just send me these ones. I'm like, I felt this big, you know, because I'm like, oh my God, I can't even get this woman the shrimp that she's asking for. And And I'm just like, man. And, to be honest, I seen her a couple times after that. I haven't really seen her since. I'm like, well, I guess I lost Priscilla because I can't get shrimp to her alive, And I was like, seriously, it was embarrassing. So, I mean, I've even talked to Dan about it. I was like, yeah, she ain't been back. Oh, she's just real busy. Then she'll pop in for a couple minutes. I'm like, but I see her on this stream and this, whatever. So that's when I say, don't bring that one up again. It's, I don't know.
Those teams, huh?
My packing or something was terrible. I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. 2 weeks to Dan, they lived. They go to her. She had a hot heat, but I don't know. I guess I wasn't doing it right or something, but I killed. It's embarrassing. So I was like, yep. So, yep. Like I said, Priscilla's a great person, but getting shrimp to Priscilla is like, woo, I go through hell and back. Hey,
mine survived
here. Yeah, it's like asking the devil if I can cruise through. Hey, what's this going to cost me? I got some shrimp. I got to get to Priscilla. No, right. Okay, we'll just let them cook here in the oven. But like, I think it was right after that, I sent 300 tangerine tigers to California, and 35 lived. And it's like, I asked like Robbie, I'm like, why do you send stuff to me? It could be cold here. I'm like, why do you send stuff to me with ice packs in it? He's like, oh, because it's like 80 something here, and the post sits on the back dock in the blazing sun, waiting to go on a truck. Right. I was like, you're kidding me. He's like, no. So they could actually, if they sit there too long, they could get way too hot and die on a day that's 100 degrees. And I'm like, so I'm like sitting here going, oh my gosh, I'm sending everybody shrimp from Hawaii all the way to Timbuktu, and I can't get them to Colorado. I was like, all right, I'm doing something wrong to where, they were getting there late. She's looking on the thing, and it's like, they say they're here. They say they're coming, or they're held up here, but I don't know what was going on. But boy, I screwed up 2 of those orders.
No, that's a good point. Do you think that something like the Mile High altitude of some certain places around there would affect?
I've always spoke on that. Yeah, I've always spoke on like like water here isn't the same as like Priscilla's water because of the pressure, because of how high you are, how low you are. We all know that. It's kind of like going diving in the water. The deeper you go, the more pressure. The higher you go, it's harder to breathe.
Yep.
So when people do say, what are your water parameters? Here's my water parameters, but you need to drip slowly into yours because, I mean, shipping from here to there it could create pressure in there, but I don't think that's why they died. I think it was poor packaging.
I was just trying to give you a patsy, man. I was trying to give you a way out.
I can't take it. I gotta accept responsibility and say it was my fault. And I just hope she doesn't stay away forever because I mean, look, I only ship UPS now. I mean, since the virus and stuff, yeah, USPS, but still, I don't care. UPS is only a few dollars more. And if you want product, I mean, I don't know of a shrimp dying. Who knows how long shipping, but I only use UPS now because when they say it's going to get there, it's gotten there. I think there's been one time where it went a day later, and that was just because it went all the way to Washington, Seattle, Washington. I didn't realize that place is so far away,
right.
And it takes a while to get there. But, other than that, yeah, I only go UPS now because I don't want to be embarrassed anymore. And I up my game. It's I bought one of those hot wire cutters, so I cut my styrofoam with that sucker, and
right.
It's just like in the summertime, I'm thinking, okay, there's been times where I just wrap it all in insulation, pink insulation. It works really good because look, that stuff's made to not let anything go through it or get out of it. So why can't I wrap my shrimp in there? But then you get orders where they put blown in insulation in there. That's the worst. It's like, I don't even know if I'll order again from you because I can't stand this stuff. But look,
Yeah.
it's insulation. It's made not to go in and out. But when you look at Flip and a bunch of other people that ship a certain way, it's styrofoam, always styrofoam, always styrofoam. Now, you look at LRB, and I've tried it his way. He uses styrofoam sheets. That stuff's made out of styrofoam. He puts stuff, it puts in a plastic bag, ties it shut, puts it all in there. He says he never has a problem. I've tried a lot, but I've come to the conclusion that I must use styrofoam. I must use my hot wire cutter to make it look nice and not look like a dweeb, cutting it with, a dull razor blade, because I've tried it all, snapping it and holes. And I mean, it's embarrassing. I got a whole bag of those pop peanuts, to fill in, for extra room. Now those work, but when it comes down to it, because I used to argue the fact that when you put insulate or put styrofoam in there, it's not sealed tight, so air comes in and out. There's no doubting that,
Right.
But it just does work. It does work, even though air can come in and out. It's just, I think it maybe not as fast as I thought it would, because you're not sealing it up to hold it in there, but it seems to work the best. I don't know, but yeah, there's my rant on Phillies to Colorado. And that's why I never bring it up. But hey, I take full responsibility. But Priscilla was very professional about it. She didn't chew me out. And, I always pay the shipping if something dies. She's like, nope, I don't think so. I'll pay the shipping again. So she's 100 in my books. She's a great person, and just I hope she doesn't stop ordering from me ever. I swear it'll show up, Priscilla. Just give me a dry run, I'll do it. But yeah,
and that's something that we face at our store, is that we've had a couple of incidents, and we talked about it last night, where just you would think a simple decision to go with a different size bag wouldn't cause you problems, but it can, and so we've learned on the fly what seems to work the best. We even, like we said, we shipped a thermometer with a package just to simulate, and so we could see the temperature throughout the route. And yeah, it brought concern about how we're packaging and what we need to do to try to avoid any issues that may be caused by temperature or being handled on the truck. And I have considered, what would it take to switch over to UPS next day air on everything? And only because I think I'd take a lot of lessons from Dan's Fish, because I think he's pretty outstanding at what he does. And looking at the way he does that's the only option overnight, whether it's small, medium, or large.
I've ordered from Aquatic Arts twice. The first time I got the long fin super red bristle nose, because they were 50% off at $32 overnight. I had to pay overnight. These Kygomas, I won the $100 thing at Aquashella, and it was overnight. They send up, but guess what? They come here alive and with a lot of spunk. But the bad thing is with me being small, at least, it's hard enough just getting, people to notice that I'm here and order, then go, oh man, and I got to pay overnight ship. Like Soloaces asked, he wonders how it would handle hot temperatures when shipping. Well, Soloaces like heat. And I sent Soloaces. I did it one time, UPS to a guy, and he got them, and they were fine. And the temperature was fine. It was like 80 plus, and they showed up great. But in the heat, they're great. But in the cold, they got to be overnighted. There's no other way to do it. And that's another thing. Soloaces are expensive. People are like, oh, $20 a piece plus overnight. And it's like, well, I enjoy having a tank full of 500 of them. So you don't need to take any of them because my wife says that she loves them more than anything. So they can stay right here.
Right.
But it's the fact of, I don't like to pay overnight. It for some stuff, if you order a lot, it gets expensive, but you got to look for at least one order of something. You're looking at probably like $34, $35 for next day, plus what you pay.
Right.
So.
Well, if coming from the business side of it, it's where I have to convince Jason for us to look at it and really, are we concerned about guaranteeing healthy fish
For sure.
and then relying on the postal service 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 day shipping and absorbing that attack on our reputation when things go wrong? Or do we stick with, we want to deliver healthy fish, and the best way to do that is overnight, and that'll cut out any possibility, or it should reduce the possibility of something going wrong in shipping because it's only overnight versus 2 or 3 days in maybe.
I think it is one of them. I don't know if it's Aquatic Arts or not, but one of them that I was looking at gives you an option. You can not pay overnight, but you're not responsible if they show up deceased.
And that's not a bad thing to say. Hey, you can order them on regular ground, 2-day air or whatever, but you no longer qualify for the DOA policy.
Yep. And overnight we cover everything. So if it shows up dead, and we'll pay for shipping again if they're dead.
Right.
So that's your 100% guarantee. And if you choose not to do it, then we're not responsible.
Right. We did put the option that if people would like to, they can get it next day air and pay the extra for next day air. But I almost like not giving them an option. But again, it just really depends on what's going on. If we continue to have problems with shipping using the USPS, then we probably look into UPS. But where our concern is around here, the people for UPS, they like to throw packages around.
Well, they all do. I mean, you ever see those movies with Jim Carrey where he's walking around shaking it and kicking it? And, and then he delivers it. That's why they say don't ever put stickers on it, say live fish. I don't want to say who it is, but there's someone that comes in here who says her brother used to work for UPS, and she said that he would tell her that when he would see stickers on it like that, those were the ones that they would mess with or chuck a little harder because it was letting them know what was in it. So that's why I don't put anything on, but it's I don't think you'll ever get around that because I'll get it overnight and it'll have like a fist punch through it, big hole through the cardboard. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I take pictures and I send it back. And I'm like, before I open the box, I'm just letting you know, I've got them where they're sopping wet. And I'm like, look, they're destroying these boxes. But just to let you know, so you can contact your UPS and let them know that, or FedEx, but UPS, I've had really good luck with them ever since I switched to them. I'm not saying they haven't punted a box, but and that's another reason why I like the foam board insulation, because if they punt it, it won't crush it.
Right.
But if you do look, I think Uline, I don't know the price of it, but they sell those bags. Those, you put stuff in it for like food, you put it in there and seal it shut, and that'll keep your stuff hot or cold wherever it goes. But you're on that cost. But
it's a pretty good cost too.
Yes, sir. But that's the whole thing. It's all up to the consumer, I guess. You just give them, you want to take the chance, fine. Everything's good. Like I said, other than the Priscilla, the two things with Priscilla and the one to California, knock on wood, I've done really good. I mean, even though I try different ways, I've done really, really good. But shrimp are different, but fish are pretty resilient too. But yeah, it's a tough game out there right now with the way I just say with the way the society is right now. It's a tough game trying to get boxes from point A to point B in one and in the shape you set them out in. It's
Right.
just things aren't the same as they used to. So
No,
like
and I
Go
think
ahead.
a lot of it is just that because of the times that we're in, it changes the consumer's expectations. And I think there's a little bit of a fallacy in the logic right now that, okay, so I'm ordering it online, so it's going to be perfectly packaged and everything's going to go perfect. And if not, then you people suck. How dare you sell me something like this and ship it to me that way, intentionally trying to take my money?
Yeah.
No, accidents happen. So, but the expectations nowadays have changed, and people are so much angrier over small things that they actually do sometimes make it seem like we're trying to screw them out of their money or something, or we did it on purpose. And it's like, no, never, ever. That's the last thing we want to do. So do we fix the expectations by saying, okay, everything's overnight now,
But then, then you're getting, what do they say? Now you upset some, you make some happy because then they're going to be like, well, we're not going to deal with you because we don't want to pay overnight. Well, go somewhere else. They're all doing overnight.
Right.
Everyone now is doing overnight. But it's, with me being small the way I am, I try to pitch the pennies. That's why I went to UPS because I'm like, look, it's like $1.50 more only. That's it. It's not much. It's only a couple dollars more to go UPS. And guess what? This guarantee on this piece of paper, they get it to you. It comes in the big brown truck, and it's the little white trucks are having problems right now. So,
Right.
I've had good, I've sent fish tank lights, 9 of them. They stuck them in a cardboard box and then put a box over it, guaranteed that they get there working perfect. They showed up with little, it was perfect. They all showed up, no breaks, no scratches, no dents, dings, nothing. UPS is, it's good. I don't know about FedEx and stuff, but they've gained my business by, getting my livestock there, so.
Cool deal.
You got yours. I sent it UPS to you, so
yeah.
I only go one way now, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to cut this thing so short, but
I know. 3 hours. Holy
yeah.
Hey, by what the wife says, I got to put laundry in the dryer. So,
you better get to it, honeydew.
Yeah. But hey, thank you so much. I had a blast. It's nice to have you on here, even though, everything doesn't have to be about shrimp. But before you are sucked into everyone's channels being on theirs, I wanted to suck you into mine really quick so I didn't have to be jealous that you were everywhere else but here. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming on here and spending 3 hours with us and, giving us a bunch of your positive knowledge that, I didn't even know a bunch of it. So I appreciate everything that you do for the hobby, and I appreciate you. So
thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I appreciate you letting me take up 3 hours of your stream. Everybody's been awesome. We kind of ignored most of the questions. So, but they've been awesome.
Well, the thing is it's I can answer a lot of them, but then it takes away from, I don't know, I think the limelight's on you. We've both been in the music industry, and once that light goes on the singer, that's it. You're the most important person in the band. The drummer doesn't get shit. The bassist, the lead guitarist, nobody gets nothing. So it's I'd rather get more conversation in here than anything else. But we are gonna have to have a stream because I am going to want to pick your brain about your other endeavors that you've done in life with the rock and roll stuff. Because like I said, I was big into that. I didn't work for any huge bands, but I just grew up in that lifestyle. You know, I was born in the 70s, 72. So, I'm an 80s baby, long haired. That's just how it was. So yeah, hey, I cut mine off, but it's intriguing, so there's still bars around here that the bands come to, so I mean the bands that you don't hear much, they still do come here. So but yeah, gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah. It's so let's say thank you to everyone that's in the chat. I'm
Thank
sorry
you,
we didn't get to all your questions and stuff. But Mississippi Hippie did make Papa Shrimp blush a little bit. So, but everyone that says that they're going to watch the replay, thank you so much. And I appreciate everyone for showing up tonight. And so we do nothing but hope the best for you and Jason and in your future endeavors. And I hope to meet you in person soon. So
awesome, man. Well, I can't wait to do this again, and thank you so much.
All right, and I hope you don't have as much fun on someone else's stream as you did here.
All right, brother.
Take care of yourself, and see you guys soon.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, peace.